Coming to you from Blue Crew Studio in Temecula, California, it's the Whiskey Throttle Show, taking you inside the lives and careers of the legends and leaders of action sports. Today's guest is brought to you by Yamaha. Yamaha is the industry leader in 2- and 4-wheel fun and performance. Motocross, off-road, adventure, side-by-side, Yamaha sets the standard. Yamaha revs your heart. The Whiskey Throttle Show is presented by Motorsport.com. It doesn't matter if you like to pull a throttle cable on a dirt bike, street bike, side-by-side. Motorsport.com is putting riders first with parts, gear, and accessories, including some of our partners like Troy Lee Designs, Dunlop, Pro Circuit, and more. They offer first returns free on apparel so you can buy with confidence. And Motorsport.com offers fast, free shipping on all orders over $79. Make your next ride your best ride. Visit Motorsport.com. Troy Lee made a name for himself as the most elite helmet painter in all forms of motorsport racing. His ability to make a stationary object look fast is something rare. That creativity gave way to motocross and mountain bike gear, helmets, and an arsenal of protective equipment aimed at keeping racers on the track and out of a doctor's office. The 2025 TLD line is out, and it's as fast as ever. Troy Lee Designs, blending speed and style. Hey folks, thanks for joining us here at the Whiskey Throttle Show. We're in the Blue Crew studio with a special guest today. I've been waiting for this guy to come to California ever since he left it. This guy's got a hell of a career and a good story. It's Josh Grant. Welcome.
How's it going?
Thanks for coming, dude. I'm stoked to have you.
Yeah, I know it's been a minute.
Yeah, I don't know, even when you were out here, dude, I didn't see you for a long time, it seemed like.
Yeah, it's hiding out.
Yeah. You're kind of low-key guy. You do your thing.
Yeah.
You're not like a guy that chases the spotlight. I always appreciated that about you.
Yeah, no, it's not. That's not my style.
Yeah.
But it's all good. My kids are they're more important now, so just kind of was like, you know what, my stuff's on the back burner.
Yeah, family man, dude. You just told me you had a third one. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Fresh.
5 months ago, freshie. So his name's Zane Martin Grant, and just brought him into this world. Crazy.
That's so rad. Congrats to you guys, man. We start with the motorsport.com gate drop. You guys get anything you need over at motorsport.com for your motorcycle, dirt bike, street bike. If you ride quads, I'm sorry, but you can still get stuff for those there. Man, anything you need, they ship it right to your house. You don't even have to get up. Check those guys out. Tell me about Florida, dude. So you moved 2 years ago, and I was just talking to you about it, and you're like, I said, do you know someone out there? Or like, what, was there a reason? You're like, I don't know, we just moved.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of it was everything that was going on in California and, just the whole pandemic and the kids in school. And we were kind of in that spot where in our life where we're like, we just wanted change. We wanted something different. I've been familiar with Florida because when I was racing, me and GL, we had that place down in Claremont.
That's right.
So I was like, well, I definitely liked being out there. And if the kids are going to race, a lot of the East Coast races. So I was just kind of like, let's go on a trip. So we went to Lake Sugar Tree for Chad's Moto Vroom race or whatever that was. And on the way back, we ended up looking up on Zillow. And we were like, oh, where's this place? We were in Destin, Florida. And I'm like, oh, this spot is, I've never been here before. This is unreal. The waters were like the Bahamas. And, I'm like, it's part of Florida. It's pretty centrally located.
That's
for
where you're
racing.
at? You're in Destin?
Yeah, we're right north of Destin. Yep.
Ricky's got a yacht there, doesn't he?
He used to.
Okay.
I hit him up. I'm like, bro, when are we taking the boat out? He's like, I sold it. But no, it's good. I wanted change. So we ended up calling a realtor out there on the way back from that race. I was like, hey, I found this house. It just came up today. And so we went and looked at it. It was pouring down rain. I mean, you couldn't even see in front of you. And my wife's like, I don't know. It's a little far from the beach, but if we want property to have the boys have a track, it might be something. Well, let's check it out. So it's pouring down rain. So we go through these towns from the beach, and we're like, show up this house, brand new built house, 45 acres.
45 acres?
Yeah, so we look in the back, and I'm like, it's all peanuts. And I'm like, yeah, I could definitely build a track here. Let's do it, or whatever. And
just like that?
Yeah, so we called the guy, and was like, hey, we put an offer. We're heading back to California. I got to go do World Supercross, and then after World Supercross, if this happens, we'll move. And we'd already sold our house in California, so we were kind of like, no matter what, we were going somewhere.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Peanuts, like
peanuts? Yeah.
Okay.
It's known for the Peanut Festival or whatever. Okay. So he's like, yep. So they accepted the offer, and then next thing you know, after World Supercross, well, I got hurt early because it was the first round, and came back, and we just said, all right, let's go. Let's pack up. And then we left.
How is that just to, pack up and not know just, pack your junk and just go somewhere you don't know anyone? It
was pretty gnarly, honestly. We were, I don't know, Ashley and I still talk about this. had to have been something that God was just telling us we got to go do something. Like it was when we started driving through the town that we missed because it was raining so hard. We were like, where in the hell did we just move?
What have we done?
What have we done? But we ended up meeting the people who actually bought the house. It's like a bunch of family land around there.
Okay.
And it's a younger, group. There's guys that live right across the street. They're like our age. They just started having kids. The people that owned the house that we're in now, he owns a big powder coating business. So he's all into, and their little guys starting to ride. So like our whole little community now is all like, we're about the ranch.
They all like to ride. No one's
They come
hassling
over
about
every
noise.
day and they're like, hey, can we ride? It's wild. It's super cool. And that's one thing Ash and I prayed for when we got there was like, we just need people, and that was it. And it's completely changed our life. You kind of unlearn the convenience aspect of everything out here and just how much you rely on that. So it's cool. You're kind of like unlearning all that stuff.
That's cool, man. It's coming for me at a point. I just can't yet, but
it's hard for people because like we have friends that do the same thing. They're like, oh, we need to get out of California. It's burning down and this and that, and you're just like, we just did the jump, and just said screw it, we're doing it. And it was gnarly. It was hard. I mean, we have 3 kids now, and Ashley had lost her father during COVID. So and then it was just we were just like, we're doing it. We're doing something different.
Yeah, it's just such a leap, dude. It's crazy. I'm stoked that it's it worked out so well for you guys.
Same here.
Do you miss anything out here?
I miss our friends and our family that are still here, like since we've been here the whole week, we have literally been just driving and just hitting everybody, just saying hi, and grandma and grandpa, and went to my dad's house yesterday, and then a bunch of friends that we, always hang out with. So they're all just like, it's wild. But those are the things we miss the most for sure. Yeah.
I told you, Jay Clark saw your dad at Glen Hill. He's all, that looks like Josh Grant's dad. No, it can't be him. Why would he be out here?
Yeah. Oh, no, he'd be out there. He'd be out there if I wasn't.
Does your dad miss it?
Yeah, he does for sure. It's cool because now it's like the grandkids are riding. So he's like, I think he's probably more into it now than he was when I was.
Really?
So, well, just because they're, I don't know, just fresh blood, I guess. I don't know.
Is he retired? Can he fly out and come hang for?
Yeah, my dad's been out a few times. Yeah. He's been helping me build like our shop and stuff out there, and he's wants to see the grandkids. So I told him, hey, we're coming out for Mammoth, but we're going to come early and come ride Glen Helen and come see you and hang out for Father's Day and all that. So
have the kids been out here riding before? Like, do they remember it?
Oh yeah. I mean, Wyatt got on Glen Helen on Tuesday last week and was like, it only took me 2 laps and I feel good. And I'm like, all right, so it's still in there.
It's in the blood.
Yeah, it's there.
Glen Helen's just home to you guys. Your dad was always really cool. It's fun that he's, getting to do that now with your kids.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad. You said you're racing Mammoth. How much have you been riding? Like, are you jumping on with the boys and doing laps too?
Nah, a little bit. I mean, I try to, but when I'm working on the track, working on their bikes, trying to make everything run straight and just take care of them, I kind of put myself on the back burner a lot. Yeah. So, I ride a little bit here and there.
Okay.
Knowing that I was going to come race, I started riding like a couple weeks ago. And then I ended up having knee surgery, I don't know, probably about 2 months ago, just to get some stuff cleaned up. And stuff that's been aggravating me over the years. So, I went to this place in Birmingham, and the guy's like, oh, yeah, I remember, dude, I watched your races, and and he hooked me up. So, got me cleaned up because I told Kenny I wanted to come out and race Mammoth. So, yeah.
The knee is good now?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. Yeah. I mean, it's still junk, but it's still all right. Good enough to ride.
So you're going to be where I'm at. I just went off work at the fire department because my knee is so trash. Yeah. I got to get it. There's maybe replacement. So
he said that's where I'm at, but I'm too young. So I can't do anything until I'm 45,
what
50.
38?
I'm going to be 39 next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Last year in the 30 class.
I just turned 50, dude.
Crazy.
Yeah, I know. I really wanted to. I'm like, when I turn 50, I'm going to Loretta's and going to. I'm going to clean up.
Yeah.
I mean, Brownie. You never know with Brownie. He'll always kick your ass. But, and you know what? While he comes up, I want to wish Brownie all the best, dude. Sounds like, I don't know all the details, but sounds pretty gnarly.
Yeah, so I'm hoping the best. We actually did a camp together in upstate New York about a few months ago, and just did like a big camp for kids and stuff. And it was the first time I really got to like hang out and like talk with them. We stayed together in the cabin and all that. He's awesome. Super cool dude. Yeah. Like I never got that close to him or knew, but awesome. So
he's kind of quiet and he kind of like,
Oh, very quiet. Yeah.
If you don't go get to know him, you won't get to know him, right?
But we had to. We were in the car ride going from like whatever airport to the track. I'm like, oh, it's crazy. I'm like, man, I remember my last year. It might have been his last year in lights or something right then. was when I was coming.
Oh
in.
yeah, when he was number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
He's a stud. I want to wish him all the best.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not racing at all this year because my knee's so screwed up. So my point is, I go kick ass while you still can.
Yeah, right. While you still got it.
All right. Hey, I want to just remind everyone to get over to WhiskeyThrottleMedia.com. We got all kinds of stuff there. That's our home base. Merch. We got moto content, off-road content, dual sport content, live event tickets when we do live shows. New merch, this shirt right here, for sale right now. So go check it out. Our guest story is brought to you by Yamaha. Get on a blue bike and make your life better. That's what I say. Rev your heart, whatever. That's what they say. All right. Riverside. You're a Riverside boy.
Yep.
So what year were you born then?
86.
86. Okay. I'm trying to do the timeline. So like by about the 90s is when you were getting hot and heavy into racing and riding.
Yep.
And that was the peak of like Retchie Canyon, Mockingbird Canyon.
That's where I lived off those videos, Krusty's and all the, it was like everything was about that.
So step back, like, when you're a young kid, like what did your life look like? Did you play other sports? Do you have siblings?
I have one sister, yep.
Okay.
And then now 2 stepbrothers, but yeah, it was just me and my sister growing up.
She's older or younger?
Younger.
Okay.
Yep. And yeah, I mean, it was all about moto once I started riding. My dad,
which was what, like 6, 7?
Yeah, 7.
Okay.
Yeah, which is crazy now because if you go throw like a 7-year-old on a P-dub, it's like they're like way too big, right? I mean, but like I don't know, it just feels. That's what it was then. There was no other 50s. There was no Cobra or any of the
no
other stuff.
Stasics, nothing like that. I know.
So my dad was actually, him and his best friend, they used to go to like Carlsbad and do all that stuff and practice and race. So he ended up getting me a PW50 and took me to Star West. And before I'd ever even really rode, I'd only rode like a LT Quad 80 or whatever in the backyard. And he's like, hey, we're going to go to Star West. And we showed up. It was a race. And he's like, we go on the gate, and it's like me and Beavers. And, like we didn't know any of these people yet. But I look back at this picture. Hopefully I'll find it for you.
Yeah. Dayton Beavers?
Yeah, Dayton and Scott Simon and all that. It was crazy. But my dad, we showed up, and he goes, just follow everybody else, go for it. And I'm like, okay. So I hadn't even rode a 2-wheeler before. And then next thing you know, I'm going around and I ended up winning that race at Star West that night.
No way.
Yeah.
First one.
Dad still got the trophy. It's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So thanks to Ron Hendrickson on that one.
So before that, were you playing other sports or doing anything else? Or just?
I think I tried to play baseball or maybe T-ball or something like back then, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was literally all dirt bikes.
Dirt bikes from as early as you go back. And so your dad gets you that bike. Did he race quite a bit?
No, he rode, but he didn't really race. No.
Okay. He wasn't like a regular Carlsbad or Saddleback guy. Like a lot of those guys, they raced 4 or 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
Back then it was weird. So you guys started racing right away. After that, were you like, was it every weekend or were you guys?
I mean, I don't remember it that vividly, but I mean, it was something where we started. That's what we started doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you were at Loretta's at 10, I think, right?
I might have been. I think I went to Loretta's like twice or 3 times total.
97. So you were 65, 10 to 11 stock was your first year.
Okay. Yeah.
So
that makes sense. And then I think I did one on the 80s because I remember winning a championship in that one or something.
Yeah, you did.
Or a big bike.
You
intermediate.
Did 2 classes in 97. Then you went back in 01, rode a Super Mini in an 85.
Yeah.
And then 02, you won the 84 85 1450 modified and got second in Super Mini.
Yeah.
And then you did back in 03 and got a third in 125B.
Yep.
That's your
and then
Loretta
turned
score.
pro in 04.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, you kind of pinned it.
Yeah.
Like things happen fast for you.
Which is crazy because we didn't look at that race as so much. I mean, I remember it being like, that's it, but I don't look at it like that as much now anymore. I don't know why.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know. I have a feeling. Just it's not.
Well,
I think the sport's changing too. It's not like really so much about it. I mean, you look at how they're trying to do all the, I would say what is it? What are the races that they got to do?
like the regionals and like the SMS next stuff?
Yeah, the next stuff, and then they got the combines, and you know what I mean? So I feel like now
that's
raising a kid, it's like, or that wants to go race, it's like that should almost be your focus instead of a pit bike race. I don't know, something.
Well, I'll tell you this about Loretta's, and I mean, you throw in your 2 cents, but like it's a small track. Like it's a great mini bike track.
Yeah.
But when you get on a big bike, it's like I don't think you ever get out of third gear.
No, it's very small, but it's tight. I mean, so like you look at it compared to another like outdoor motocross race, you're like, that's not a track.
Yeah, it's
not Glen Ellen. That's not,
But it's a cool event. I mean, don't get me wrong.
100%. Yeah. I think it's great. I mean, and honestly, the reason I really like it is because it creates a pressure situation, which is what you're going to have to learn to do every single weekend from that. I mean, you got to pretty much be able to go to that race and be like, yeah, I'm going to win.
Yeah, and the hard part about that one, too, is it's like you're getting everything. You're getting that pressure. You're getting the humidity.
Yeah.
That place will crush you.
Yeah.
Because it's in the trees. There's no wind. And you're going to get mud probably, right? Like
at
least
some
one
point,
more. Yeah. So you really have to kind of have it all to put it together there. Who is in your regular crew? Like you kind of mentioned those guys. I was going through some of your, like some of these championship years, and I was laughing at some of the guys. Like Hepler and Gerke were two guys that were always up front. But Michael Willard, I haven't heard that name in forever.
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Dude, you guys were all in the mix.
He was fast. I remember that.
Ohio kid. Mike LaPaglia was in there. Nick Avenue. Villapoto.
Yeah. He was younger, though, I thought.
He might have been a year younger, but he would bump into your class like maybe every other year or something like that. It's funny when you look back, like that picture you said, it's the same guys.
Oh, yeah.
You started with on a peewee.
All the way through.
Yeah.
And then you look at even Eli and all those other kids, they had the same thing, right?
Dudes,
with Barsha and so on and so on. It's
it's
pretty wild.
Who was in your regular crew, like just going riding back when you were a kid?
It would probably be like, I don't know if you remember Brent Line.
I remember the name. I didn't know him. Really.
It was Beavers, Scott Simon. We all lived right there in that Mockingbird Canyon, flat top area.
Okay.
So whoever would come out to ride Pro Track is what it was,
Yeah.
Like,
was Chicken out there a lot? That was always his spot to go.
I didn't see Jeff that much, but I did see Lampson quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Steve was, because he lived right down the road. And then also he ended up being my mechanic at one point, was Alex Ewing, because he worked for, or was buddies with Fro. So and Alex lived 2 doors down from me in Mockingbird.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I didn't even know. And he's like, yeah, it was so-and-so. And remember I used to build jumps in your front yard. And I'm like, that's freaking wild.
Where do you work for you? JGR?
Yeah, JGR.
Okay. He was my mechanic for a minute at KTM.
Yep.
He's a good dude.
Great.
Yeah, I like that guy. What about Mockingbird Canyon? Like, I think a lot of people, it doesn't come up that often.
Yeah.
But when I was thinking Riverside, I'm like, oh, dude, I bet he grew up out there.
Yep.
It's all houses now, yeah.
It was, yeah. It's all. Or now everything is houses, yeah. But it was cool because we
That place
literally could ride out the front door and just cruise, and we were at Pro Track and Hilltop and all that kind of stuff. So
it was good. Like the dirt was killer.
It was bad. My dad used to bring home like little skip loaders and go out there and like prep, and like make
really?
jumps and stuff. And yeah, it was cool.
Was Dad in construction? What'd he do?
He did a little bit of everything, yeah. But he worked at the refineries for Arco for a while, and then he got into construction and was doing heavy equipment stuff. And yep.
That's rad. What about Retchie? Did you go out there quite a bit?
I didn't until we ended up moving out towards Yucaipa, because when we left Riverside, I moved out to Yucaipa, and then that's when I started riding out there in like Ritchie Canyon and over there in the like Yucaipa Hills.
Beaumont and all
Beaumont, yeah.
Was that Big Bike Days? Was that later?
It was right around Super Mini, Big Bike, yeah, right when we started moving up.
So did you tag along with like the Albrechts and stuff? Because we used to have big groups that would go out of Joel and Jeremy's house.
Yep, right there on the corner, and Doug Parsons and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, Doug's place. That was the meetup spot, huh? Oh, man, those were good days.
I know.
It sucks that no one does that anymore, really.
It's just, it's changed.
Do you do that with your kids? Like, do you try to
we did when we were out here and they were learning how to ride. Yeah, I mean, I would almost take them because we lived off of right over there by the test tracks.
Okay.
Hidden Valley or whatever that is. And I would just take the boys out on their peewees and 50s or whatever, and we'd just go ride out through the hills and then go ride to the test track. And then I'd go hit the water cannons for the night before and get it all nice and dialed in. And but, they kind of learned how to ride a little bit in the hills.
I feel like all the kids today, everyone's so serious. And I guess as the money gets bigger and it gets more professional, that's what happens. But
there's a lot more structure, I feel like. You know, and that's okay. I mean, if that's how you want to be. But how I grew up was not like that. It was like I wanted free. I mean, there was one point I think I even got like LBC baggies because I was like, my dad's like, no, you're racing. You're not. You can't ride in those. You know.
But Dad, pimp and hoe parties.
Yeah, come on.
Well, I think there's a happy medium. I mean, I would go out here with groups with Jeremy and Rhino and Factory Phil and all these guys, and when it rained, and we would ride all day just playing. We never did a lap. It was like, hey,
it's just riding.
Let's jump from here to there. Let's hit this little hip and see if we can spin the bike. You know, that you learn stuff from that.
100%.
And
free riding is what made me love moto more than racing.
Yeah.
Because it was just, it was an aspect where I was just like, all right, I just get to be myself and do whatever I want.
Total freedom, no rules.
Yep.
I know, I agree. And I saw what I'm saying is I think you're right. The structure's good. We were a little loose maybe in the 90s, but there's a happy medium. When we've swung so far this way, you tell a guy, hey, we're just going to go play ride in the hills. And he's like,
they don't even want to do it.
Where do I do my laps?
Right.
You know? It's like, who's timing us? It's like, no.
Because even now with my boys, like when we're in the backyard, like there's some structure where some days we're like, hey, we're going to do, we at least need to get this work done to feel like, we got something accomplished today, or working on bike setup or this and that. But most of the time I'm like, go ride.
Just go out
and have fun.
Yeah.
If you're not having fun, just park it. Be done.
Yeah.
So
that's what happens to a lot of kids. I think you're going to see in 10 years time, you'll see a lot of kids burn out.
Oh, 100%.
Like the Bradshaw kind of effect where it's like, you just went too hard too soon.
When they just grind all the time, it's like, I mean, that's how I feel. I don't know. I mean, some kids, they might enjoy that. But
yeah, some guys, like probably a Tomac or Dungy, they thrive in that, right? They want to just grind. But I don't think most people can do that. You can't take the fun out of anything and still have a passion for it. I don't know. What was your favorite spot out in Ritchie, or did you have a jump or a area that was like
in Ritchie? Well, we used to go out from Sean O'Connor's house. Do you remember Sean O'Connor?
I remember the name. I don't know where he lived.
Yeah, he lived right on the back side of everything. I don't remember like
by the 60, like out back there.
Where I'm trying to think. Is that Cherry?
Okay.
Yeah.
Cherry.
And then Tommy Harrison.
Valley.
Do you remember Tommy Harrison? Yeah. So we actually had Tommy Harrison's property was where I built my first Supercross track with O'Connor and all those guys.
Okay, I remember that track. I don't remember what it was.
Right there in that fenced little hole or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't remember anything like that stands out that was like, oh, this jump, or I just remember riding out there a lot.
Did you ever do the Kamikaze or the Trail of Death? Any of those?
I remember doing the road jump gap or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. But I mean, it was the best part was like you can actually go out there and just make whatever you wanted, or you just like, hey, just bring a shovel and let's go.
Yeah.
Especially when it rained.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
What riders? Who did you look up to as a kid? Like, who was your kind of heroes? Was it the crusty crowd?
I mean, I liked that part of like because the videos I think were out, and that's how it kind of started. Like, I feel like. So you'd see those dudes in there. You'd see Jeremy. You'd see all the guys out in Glamis, and you know what I mean. But probably the guy that I looked up to the most was Wyndham, because when I was up in the nosebleeds at Anaheim, I was like, yeah, that's like I like that guy's style. I like and I just had picked him out. It wasn't about Jeremy because he was winning. It was about Kevin because he looked like the cleanest, smoothest, baddest.
He was so fun to watch.
Yeah, he was awesome. So
I got great views of him as he'd go by me and beat me. He was in 96, 5, 6, 7. Dude, that guy was on a 125.
Oh yeah,
magic. I mean, he continued to be, but like just the stuff he'd do, it was like James almost, where you just go.
Yeah, you're like, what? How?
I don't understand what he just did. That doesn't even make sense.
But no, K-Dub was probably my...
K-Dub was the guy. Yep. Do you keep in touch with him? He's probably not too far from you.
No, he's 5 or maybe 6-something hours from us. Yeah, not far. I still keep in touch. Or we, chat every now and then. He's got some kids that are out, in the amateur scene and stuff. So we'll see him at Mini-O's. And
his property looks sick.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
You been over there?
Yeah. I mean, one of my first years racing, I went and lived with Kevin out there. Him and Tucker Hibbert, I think, was out there at the time.
It's same place?
Same area, yeah. Huh. So, and he's like, oh, yeah, just come check it out. So
he doesn't leave, dude. It's hard to get that guy to.
Yeah, he's not leaving Centerville.
No, he's not. He's not.
Maybe.
That guy, too, man, he's got a horseshoe jammed up his ass. Like, he was so smart with the Planet Fitness stuff.
Yeah.
That paid huge. Like, I think he made more on that than he ever did racing.
Oh, probably.
And then did you hear he found oil on his property?
No, I did not hear that one yet.
I have to ask him. I this is third party, so I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm talking out of school, but they said that somebody approached him and said, "Hey, there's oil on your land. Can we put
a rig on here?
Rig on your and just chatter."
Crazy.
Oh my gosh, dang it! He's gonna own all of Louisiana here before too long, or Mississippi, or wherever. Okay, so you rode Cowie 65, but you were kind of on Honda.
Yep.
All through your career. Was that just because Dad liked Hondas, or did you guys have support from somebody?
We had some support. He was really close with a lot of the guys that were there, like Charlie Kernut. Yeah, he was part of it. And then Dave Tomford and all the guys, Eric Crippa. So we had a good relationship with them, which, is honestly still going to this day with Savino, and it was Chuck Miller at the one time. So, yeah, super cool. So we bleed red.
Are your kids on Hondas?
No, they're on. Well, they're
mini bikes.
They're mini bikes. But Wyatt's moving up. We're just riding a 250 right now, and Bill hooked us up with a magazine bike to start doing a little bit of development on a big bike with him. So it's kind of cool. Yeah.
I remember when you get on a big bike, like, you don't want to go back to that little one.
Dude, I kind of made the mistake to like let him ride it a little bit more than I wanted to before this race coming up.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just want to go 250. And I'm like, well, maybe start hitting the gym a little more. And once you grow a little bit, I think we'll be able to go.
He's still on an 85, or is he?
He's still on an 85.
Yeah.
He's 14, so he's riding the mini senior and super mini. And then my middle son, Easton, he's 10, and he just got on an 85.
Okay. You won't ride a 125 with your older boy?
I don't think so. I don't know. It's kind of like, but now that they've changed the rule of like the age limit of being turning pro to 18 now, I think, isn't that what they did?
Oh, is that right?
That's what I heard.
Oh, I heard that.
Yeah, there's only a couple kids now that are like able to keep that eligibility, like Tebow and some other ones that just turned. I don't know. I thought it was something to do with the sports betting deal.
Oh.
It's pretty recent.
I should look into that, actually. It's
so that might change it a little bit. But then again, it's like, Honda's not making 125s really, and it's like it's there, but it could be an important step. I don't know. I haven't really decided yet if I'm going to do it.
In my head, like, I just think it does, like a 250F covers your mistakes.
Yeah.
Because you got all that torque, and it's just so much easier to ride, where a 125 –
you got to learn how to ride the hell out of it.
You've got to be precise. You really have to be good at carrying momentum.
Yep.
And that's a great thing to carry on to that 250F.
For sure.
But anyway, I was just curious what your thoughts were there. Was there somebody along the way for you when you were younger that really helped you with your riding? Like, did you do like schools or coaching with somebody, or was it just
No, I just rode.
Yeah.
Just rode. I rode a lot though. Like, I would ride. There was times, well, I struggled in school and going to school and all that kind of stuff, going through high school. So my dad, we were able to rip me out of there and do like online school, but it was crazy because he would go work at the refineries down, down by the beach or in Long Beach or whatever, and I'd be home and I'm like, I'm going out to the hills. Screw it, And I come home and make sure I washed my bike and everything before he got home, and just like I just wanted to ride. I just rode. So much. So,
you know what, dude? It's crazy as that. It's like such a common thing I hear from guys sitting here who were really high level. Some of them did more off the bike training than others, but all of them burned so much fuel.
Yep.
Just they
was
just
it.
rode.
I rode. I mean, and even if it wasn't just laps. It was just like you said, going out in the hills and just riding or burning a turn track in the front yard or whatever. It was like didn't matter.
Yeah.
As long as I was on my bike. That's all I cared about.
That's awesome, dude. That's like I said, I hear that so much. So you go through Loretta's, you win a couple titles there on mini bikes, podium on the 125. Did you have this factory connection deal put together early while you were still amateur? No. So when you did this 125B mod, were you still full privateer mostly?
Well, I mean, we were working with Honda of Houston. I was getting a lot of support with Honda of Houston, and Honda was still helping us out. So
Honda of Houston they had a pretty big program back then.
It was sick. We had I think a bunch of guys in there. It was like James Marshall and Ty Connor, Han was in there. We had a good group.
Where'd they go?
JJ Pasick. They're still around. I know there's still a shop. I talk to Sean every now and then, Sean Martin, but
just not a lot of money to be made.
Well, I think the amateur. I don't know. It was just maybe that timing where 2008 hit or something. You know what I mean? Like that kind of.
Yeah, that killed a lot of people.
Yeah. Plus, having the support from Honda, I think it's changed,
right. So, tell me how the factory connection deal came about.
Well, I think right after that, we were getting ready because that was 125. So
it was factory connection, right? This was pre-Geico.
Yes, pre-Geico. Yeah, factory connection. I think it was right after World Minis, or one of the Texas races or something like that. Anyway, it was right after World Minis. I won a bunch of titles at World Mini.
Okay.
And J.C. Waterhouse calls us up, after that race, and Sean was telling us, hey, you're going to talk to him. And JC Waterhouse says, hey, we're going to do a test day. We're going to bring all the guys out here. We're going to bring the bikes out. We want you to show up, come ride the bike, and we want to kind of evaluate you. So I'm like, holy this is real? And all right, let's try it. So it was Gosler, Travis Preston, Mills, myself, Han. I mean, we had a big group of guys out there. And we went to Kahia.
Okay.
And so they showed up, brought the bikes out, and it was just me and my dad. And he goes, well, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I'm going to go fucking lay it down. He's like, all right, like, just, be smart, whatever. I got on that bike, and I literally felt like I was invincible, like I could go anywhere. And I don't know if it was just the mentality of it's A-kit suspension, it's a factory bike, no problem. But I went down and just laid down a 30-minute moto. I made sure I had full gas, whatever. 30-minute moto as fast and hard as I could. And came back in, and they were like, holy shit, like that was pretty wild. So I got in the back of the truck, and I started getting out of all my gear and took everything off. And JC Waterhouse was like, no, we're here till 4.
And
I said,
wait, what now?
And I said, if you can't choose, if I'm not picked after what I did, then I'm not your guy. And so
really?
I got
you
out of
said that?
Yeah, I said I got out of my gear, and my dad and I went home. And all those guys stayed out there the whole day because I remember Tommy was staying at our house, and he stayed all the way to the end. And my dad's like, that was pretty ballsy. And I was like, well, honestly, that's the best I can ride. And I just went out and laid down a moto, and I don't want to, sit there and hop between bikes and wait for people and da-da-da. I was like, if you don't want to choose me, don't want to choose me. He's like, all right, let's go home.
Damn.
And I think it was that night, JC Waterhouse called us, and he's like, hey, we want you to line up for Hangtown. And I was like,
so World Mini would be like what, April?
Somewhere around there, I thought.
So this is like just 2 months out from the national.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's like, hey, we want you at Hangtown. We'll sign you. And I was like, all right, perfect. So I did a 1-year deal, and went to Hangtown and whole shotted, and the rest was freaking.
Well, let's get to that. Yeah. So that's crazy, dude. That is the coolest story. And God, that's just like, that's so you.
It is. That's how I was. And I'm like, whatever. If not, I'm going to go race amateurs or go to Honda Houston or whatever.
You're my hero, dude. That was freaking awesome. Okay, so Hangtown, how much testing after that? You get the ride. How much testing did you do prior to Hangtown? Like,
it was for I think that was like 6 weeks before. Like, we were riding
quite a bit.
Yeah, we were out at Glen Helen, and I think we went back out there a few times.
Was your fitness good? Like,
I mean, for an amateur kid that was just really like, I mean, I would do some stuff, but I wasn't like a full gym head, or what I mean? Like, I wasn't that gnarly. I didn't have that structure, right? I was just like, I was racing or riding or at the hills,
And who were the teammates then?
It was me and Gosler, Chris Gosler, Ryan Mills, Greg Schnell.
Oh, Schnelly, okay.
Yeah, Schnelly, yeah. I think Preston just had moved up maybe, or went to factory Honda at that time.
Okay. Yeah, because he won in 02, defended in 03. How was your speed with those guys?
I was faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so take me into Hangtown, because you whole shot one of the motos, right?
Yeah, whole shot at the first moto. And my first career start.
I'm trying to remember. There's a photo of you online. I found this bitchin'. You ripping around the whole shot. And I think was that his rookie season too?
No, not that one.
Okay, there was someone on in there, but PC Cowie like 248 or some weird number. I was like, who the hell is that?
Probably McGordy or somebody. I don't know.
Okay.
But I remember it was Roncata was like with Mitch, and maybe
James.
James was on factory. Yeah, he was there. Cowie.
Okay, so what happened? Didn't you lead for a long time and then stalled or something?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I had a fat, like, huge whole shot and then huge lead.
Yeah.
James, I think he was struggling because he might have still been on the 125 or whatever. And I had a huge lead. And that's when Honda had that hot start. And it was a hard bike to freaking start in general.
All of them were. All of them. Freaking 4-strokes.
So I remember I was like lap 4 or 5 or something, and I already had like a huge gap. And
what are you thinking, dude?
Oh, it's just go. Like, I didn't even – I got a whole shot, and I was like, I'm going until I'm done, like, until the bike's done or whatever. Like, I just never let off.
Whatever the lead was, 10, 15 seconds, your first national.
Yeah. But then it gave me confidence to go, like, all right, I can do this now. Like, if this is what this is about, like, because I've never got that experience besides maybe going to a Loretta's or, like, one of those big races, I was like, I got it. And that gave me so much confidence just to go into every weekend after that.
Okay, so what happened? You stalled it. What happened?
Stalled it, and I could not get the damn thing started. Like, for the life of me. I mean, I kicked and kicked and kicked until I was just like, I don't know what else to do. I mean, Schneike was coming up, and, you know, I gave him the bike. I'm like, I don't know why it won't start. Like, I've literally find the click. I did that 100 times. Like, couldn't get it going. Yeah.
They were so hard to start. I watched Ernie struggle with that in 01.
It was so bad. But
it's painful. You know, like.
But the bikes were so good. They were so fast and so good, you know, and yeah, it was just a bummer.
So what happened Moto 2?
I think I was running top 10 or something. I think I crashed oh, that's me. Sorry. I think I was running top 10 or something, and then I think I crashed. I don't know. I don't even know what happened or where I ended up second moto.
Yeah. But it was like, I remember I was there because I had just retired the year before, and I remember I'm watching going, holy shit, this kid is like the real deal.
Yeah.
You were gone. And I mean, even though it didn't work out, it's like you showed, you know.
Yeah, I showed that
I got it under the hood, so just got to put all the pieces together. What did you, aside from you saying, like, I can do this, like, what else did you take away from that day? Like pro racing versus amateur racing?
Just pretty much that I was just ready to go. Like, this is my time. All right, let's go. Like, this is it. This is what I've been wanting to do my whole life. So now I'm finally getting to do it.
That's awesome. Okay, so you got a podium at your 5th national ever at Redbud. Those next few.
Bud's Creek, I thought. Or was it Redbud?
Redbud, according to this. Let's see. Yeah, Redbud. Oh, no, Bud's, you were 4th.
Yeah.
Sorry, and then 3rd at Redbud.
Yeah.
You went,
I thought it was Bud's Creek.
35th overall at Hangtown, which doesn't not a good indicator of how it really went.
Yeah.
You went 35, 13, 8, 4, and then podium at Redbud.
Yeah.
5th national, you get a podium, and like your progress is like just climbing. That's freaking rad.
Yep.
What was that like? Stand up on that box.
It was one of the best feelings ever.
Especially at
I
Redbud.
was that kid that's down there on the fence, like watching Wyndham and all the other guys. It's like, all right, yeah, like
a year ago, not even a year ago.
Well,
6
climbing
months
the hill
ago.
at Glen Helen and watching the outdoor nationals, and being that kid, that was cool. It was awesome. Right after that, I think, is when I extended my deal with Factory Connection.
After that podium,
Yep.
yeah, well, that sounds about right. And then you went 5th at Unadilla, 3rd at Troy.
Yep.
So like it kind of you kept it going. It wasn't.
And that was the last year they had it at Troy, because they didn't. The next year was, I think, canceled or something.
Oh,
But
that's right.
I remember that last race at Troy because I only raced that place one time.
That's right. Dang. It. Some people, I liked it. I actually did all right there, but it was hotter than hell.
Flat.
No.
Kind of reminds me of Loretta's a little bit.
Yeah, not great. Okay, so you signed a deal. Was it a multi-year deal?
I think it was a 2-year deal after that, yeah.
Okay. Were you surprised how quickly that came? It sounds like you just kind of knew. Like,
yeah, I think they were already kind of like, look, we know you got the skills to do it, so let's just keep this going, I think, and I don't know I don't know at that point. I mean, I can look at it now as maybe there were deals up for other teams and they didn't want to lose me or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
but I wasn't thinking anything different because, like I said, I was at Honda. Yeah. Wanted to be on Honda.
Had you ridden any Supercross, really?
No.
Yeah.
Like, I'd never even touched a Supercross track, really.
It's different. It was different back then.
Yeah.
I don't know when it changed, like maybe mid 2010s where kids started riding. I guess it was maybe the Monster Cup.
Yeah.
When kids, they had the Super Mini class.
Super Mini class at Monster
Kids
Cup.
were like, oh, I better ride a little Supercross.
Yeah.
Before that, it was like, no, you don't ride that.
I was just learning how to jump, just whatever, right?
Yeah, Richie Canyon, that was your practice track. So that year in 04, I wanted to ask this. I don't remember what year. What was the year when they used to run the track back into the vet track and you came over the top of that hill and you were freaking just pancaking off that thing?
Oh, at Glen Helen?
Yeah. Was that 04?
No. That was 24 year. Yeah, so it was like 08 maybe.
Okay.
07.
Dude, that was you and Wyndham both.
I got some sick pics. Carl Stone's got some sick photos of that jump. And I kind of did it every year that they did that. I got a couple of them. I got one on the Yamaha and I got a couple on the Honda for each year.
I don't think people, unless you've ridden that section, you don't know how steep that thing drops.
It's gnarly.
And when you come off that sucker, you're looking down into this massive valley.
Just floating.
Yeah, you're floating. So I don't know. I really appreciated those pictures. I was just like, damn it. That's crazy. You didn't do good at Glen Helen, though. That's normally your spot.
I know. Crazy. Like, especially those years. I don't know what it was. Maybe just probably the pressure of, home race or whatever. I don't know. But I've also had some really good races there, too. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. So 05.
Kind of balanced out.
You start riding Supercross at the end of that year, I'm sure. How did that transition go?
It actually went it was kind of hard at first, but when I decided to build our own track over here in Ukaipa, Tommy Harrison and O'Connor, Tommy was just kind of a nut, really, when it came to building tracks. He just said, hey, we're going to build the gnarliest. So you're going to learn the hardest, gnarliest stuff you can do. So when I got to Supercross, riding our track that we had over there, everything was, a couple feet bigger, a couple feet longer. The whoops were a lot taller. It was just huge. So I learned how to ride out, like really doing that out there. And when I got to a real Supercross, I was like, oh, I got this. This is nothing. Because my track was like nobody could ride it. I had Tyler Evans and all those guys come out, and he pretty much just packed up and was like, I'm not riding that. The whoops are too big. The triples, I can't make it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm stretching everything on a 250 just trying to get over stuff. And I just learned how to do 20 laps like that. Or I think it was 15 at that time. 15 laps.
That's super interesting because, like, I would say most of the test tracks, maybe there's one here or there that's built to spec, but a lot of them are built. Like, the jumps are smaller. The angles are a little flatter.
Yeah, nowadays, I think. Yeah.
And then you get to Anaheim, you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well, this trip, why is it so big? It was like that. You'd kind of go, oh, man, I'm not really prepared for this.
Yep. And we did the opposite.
You did the opposite.
Tommy said, we're going to build this so gnarly that it almost feels like you're not going to be able to do anything until you get it down. And it helped me.
Could have gone either way, right? Either you're going to get hurt or you're going to show up.
But, I mean, the whoops were like Volkswagen bugs. They were stupid big. Like, I mean, I could skip 4 in and then it would just stop. It was like what 125s were trying to do back in the day in the whoops, But I just learned to do it, and get over it, and doing dragon backs and big, huge step-on, step-offs.
Yeah.
80-foot triples.
That's rad, dude.
Yeah.
So you started off kind of humbly, 15th at Indy. And why'd they put you on the East? Was there a reason for that?
I don't remember, no.
Okay. So you went 15, 7, 13, and then Daytona, you got second.
Yep.
Tell me about that Daytona round.
No, if Hansen didn't screw it up for us both, I probably would have won it.
Oh, really? What happened? I don't remember.
Last lap, he came in and we hit each other and just, we both went down. And then got up, and we were we were both screwed, done for the last lap, but just, whatever. But, yeah, he ended up winning that one.
Oh, Hanny won that. On a KTM?
On a KTM.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Huh.
It was good.
Still second. I mean,
yeah.
Wasn't GL in it that year?
Yeah.
Where was he?
I think he might have been. Was he West Coast that year? I don't think he was East Coast. I don't know. I don't remember.
Who won the title that year? Oh, well, I'll have to go back. Anyway, I'll have to watch that. I don't remember that. All right, so then the rest of the season,
Mediocre,
but you podiumed the East-West shootout.
Yeah.
That had to feel good.
Yep.
Like another point where you're like, all right, I got these guys.
Yep.
Rolling into outdoors, you got to be feeling good about that. Anything stand out from that year? You were, I see a couple of podiums right off the bat here, Thunder Valley and Buds. Another one at Millville. Yeah, anything stand out from that summer?
What was that?
05?
05. I think, shoot. I don't really remember.
Yeah, well, you got a lot of years, so I mean, I get it. Some of them just run together.
Is that 18 years now? Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you burned up a lot of my paper printing all these results out. Yeah, so what year? 05. Let's see. Go all the way back here. You were 8th overall in the East, 7th in outdoors. They're still calling it 125. Okay, so but a good season.
Yep.
Anything change going into 06?
Yeah, I moved to Florida. Started training out there with GL.
Oh, that was the move.
Yep, that was the move. I got out of California and was like, all right, if I'm going to ride East Coast, I want to go. I'm going to go live with GL or out there and do that property and ride. Out on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Hired Darren Stockton as a personal trainer, so he helped me kind of get my physical stuff in line and just kind of get more focused.
Yeah.
So
that was Hot Sauce's guy.
Yep, Ivan. Yeah.
So you were living with GL?
Well, no, I bought a house right across the street.
Oh, okay.
So him and Hamlin lived in a house right there, and then I moved right across the street.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then we would just ride, his place. We'd go ride Chad's down in Dade City and, a few local places and whatnot. Yeah. But really at that time, it was like those were the only two places besides James, but nobody really went over there because he was doing his program.
He wouldn't let anyone play.
I don't think so. I think it was just Sorby or somebody, something like that. But
he's still to this day, just real reclusive.
Yeah. I don't know. He's let us come out a couple times, but it was, it's not like, hey, we're training here or nothing.
Yeah, right.
But,
that you guys were kind of the beginning of that.
That whole era started. That whole thing down there started with pretty much GL and Chad. With being him and Dade and us and Claremont.
Yeah. That's the place to go now. It's weird, like
that's it. It's like the mecca of. It's like California now, but it's for the kids that are training. They're at facilities that are at. They're doing that structured, just nonstop grind.
Yeah.
And it's the sandbox and all that kind of stuff. So.
And you think even, like, I totally get it for summer. Like, I would go I stayed with Ricky for one summer. I stayed with Brock Sellards for a few in Ohio.
Yep.
Do you think even for Supercross it's beneficial to stay back there?
I think so. Sometimes. If you're going to ride East Coast dirt, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you're out here west and you're like, all right, I'm going to ride the East Coast, and you're like, oh, you don't have ruts of the Corona clay.
You're off the back.
Yeah.
Is it also like the benefit of it is that there's nothing else going on?
Yeah.
Like, you have one singular focus. We're out here. There's a million distractions,
There's distractions everywhere. I feel like even in Florida, it wasn't out here, You can still get into trouble.
Really?
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Put cop lights on your car.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
There's always a way to get in trouble. Or do donuts in your car like Hayden Deegan.
Yep.
Okay, so going into this season, this might have been your best results-wise season on the 250. What happened at St. Louis? The opener, you got 22nd.
I think that was the year Ricky hit the boat, because I remember I had this pretty big crash in that one too.
And those whoops?
Yeah.
Wasn't that Dallas, though?
No, I know there was one where there was a mastercraft in that tight area.
Okay.
But it was something like that. But I remember crashing and kind of getting hurt in that one.
Well, dude, you rallied back at Atlanta. You won.
Yeah.
You went 1-2-2, 1-1. And it's like, and then you hit a 21 at Houston.
Yep. And that one was going to be a win, too. I was racing Davey for the title. And I ran into, can't remember his name. Somebody, I think it was Boniface or something like that. And I put a hole in my case.
No way.
Yep.
DNF.
And that was where Davey and I were going back and forth all year. I won Orlando, Atlanta, whatever. I was on a roll that year. But those two races are what screwed it up.
Yeah, if you could have salvaged, top fives,
yep.
you'd have probably been the champion, yeah?
I believe so. It is what it is.
Yeah, but a good season. Outdoors again, you started off 4-2, 5-3, 4. You're like up front. Anything stand out from that summer?
No, I just remember feeling good. I was at that part of my career where I just felt like, all right, just keep trucking along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there
was working pretty good.
Was there like something you figured you needed to work on? Like I was trying to think of who was in 06. Tedesco won the title, so Alessi short. That was a Stu had moved out, so there was like a bunch of everybody clamoring to try to be the guy.
Take that spot.
Yeah. Fun summer?
Yeah, it was really good. A lot of it was when I had Darren as a trainer, like we really got like super focused on that, and I'd never been that kind of guy, and I finally was like, I think to the point it helped me in a way, but it also kind of hurt. Like I didn't feel like myself. I was more of like, I'm missing the fun. I'm missing the stuff I need. Even though my results were still good, I was good because I was training. I was actually getting physically fit. I still needed to do that and also have fun, which is what I was doing, and Darren didn't like that. So,
well, I feel like there's a balance, man. And like I said, some guys, if they're just workhorses, right, they can just grind and grind, and that's how they.
Because I wanted to live too, after the race, after winning, I wasn't going to bed. I'm going out to party. Like I freaking won. Like let's go.
Yeah. So you got to find that balance. I had a Johnny Louch from Ethica was on a Code Red, that show I was telling you about, and he was saying in the MotoGP world, Hopkins. Mm-hmm. He said Hopper really liked to drink. He was a partier, and he goes, I got him straightened out. Like I made him a program. I said, okay. After the race on Sunday, you can drink. You can drink on Monday. You can drink on Tuesday. And you can drink on Wednesday. But then Thursday, no more drinking. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm like, that's your compromise? You can only drink for 4 days? Yeah. But it worked. He was a beast.
He's a bad dude.
Yeah.
And that's it. That sometimes it just takes pressure off people. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying drinking, but it just in general is finding that, something that they need to separate themselves or that takes the pressure off of that I don't know, or that stress.
Well, and if you're the kind of person that needs that balance, work-life balance or whatever the hell the thing is, it's like if you work too much and take all the fun out of it, I would get to the race and I remember just being flat. Like I was like, I don't know. I didn't care.
Just going through the motions at that point.
Yeah.
And there's definitely years that I felt, or, races that you feel like that for sure.
That's what always impresses me about guys who just freaking win every weekend. Like they show up every weekend, like Jet right now.
Yep.
How does that dude not, they're working their ass off.
For sure.
But
he's also having fun. He's also doing,
I guess when you're winning every weekend, that's fun too, right?
Yeah. But I don't know. It's timing too. I mean, I've always felt like this sport picks you, and you just have to be ready to be picked, and I feel like their timing right now is that.
Okay, so let me ask you about that because that's super interesting. Do you feel like you're either born with whatever it takes or you're not? Mm-hmm. Or is it sort of like nature versus nurture or your environment and how you were brought up? Like, does that matter,
Yeah, I feel like it does for sure. I mean, you look at, there's examples of like even Dungy. He wasn't the most talented kid, right? But
neither was RV.
Yeah, and he worked hard and did what he did, and you can do it, But I do feel like there's the 1%ers or the exceptionals that are like Hayden or Jet, like they were born for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just that feeling.
I always feel like they have the ability to process information quickly.
Yeah.
Right? Because, shit's coming at you fast and you're making all of these decisions, right? Even to be at the pro level, you're special. But those guys are like, they have a faster computer chip up there.
Yeah.
And when it's coming fast, they're in slow-mo. It's like the Matrix, they're just dodging bullets easy. Because there's no other explanation for how Jet does what he does.
For sure, because you could see it clearly on TV, or at least when we're watching the races.
Yeah, he looks half asleep.
Yeah, you're like, barely even going, and then, there he goes. Oh.
It's wild.
It's pretty crazy. He's wild.
He's fun to watch, huh? Like, Stu was amazing.
Yeah.
He'd blow your mind, but he was more like...
Stu was raw.
At any minute, you knew
like
it could come apart.
He was more fun to watch to me than Jet. Like Jet, I could actually go to sleep and be like, all right, whatever, the race is boring, right? Yeah. But Stu, he could be out front and still riding, and he'd be like, oh my God, did you see that?
Yeah,
like
he's
that
about
was
to
insane.
die.
That was yeah.
When he would jump, he would just pull the trigger on some jump.
Yep.
And you're just like, whoa.
Or some scrub or something, and you're just mind blown.
Yeah.
Which he does. Jet, he still does that kind of stuff too, where it's like, oh, did you see him hop over 7 bumps into one rut standing up? And, like he still does stuff that's crazy, but it's just not, it's not on the edge like Stu was. He's just exciting as Stu was.
Yeah, he's more calm and smooth about it. He almost makes it look boring.
Yeah.
But if it's
hard. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff he does, it's impossible. Okay, going to 07. This was another good chance you had at this title, and you switched back to West. You remember why?
No, I don't.
Probably
honestly,
not,
but I remember it was me and I think it was Weimer and I or something maybe that year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bikes were good. You're good going in, healthy. Yep. But your first couple rounds were struggle bus. Yep. 22s. Crashes? Had to be.
Yeah. Something.
You don't remember?
No.
And then you picked it up 4-2, 2-3. But you were good that year. I remember in 07 you were, title contender.
Yeah. I think RB was in that year. That's when he won.
Okay. Yeah, and he and Townley went toe-to-toe outdoors that year. That was the battle between those two. And you were in the mix, and you were one of the only other guys. You and one other person won a race. I can't remember who the hell it was. You were the only other 2 guys to win a race outside of him.
And I remember it was at High Point because we just watched. My kid was just watching it. He's like, "Dad, you were fast." I'm like, yeah, what was that 07? Yeah, okay.
Is that funny having your kid go, "Oh,
yeah,
Dad, you actually were pretty good."
But now he's critiquing. He's like, "Oh, you were dabbing your leg. You didn't have your foot out." No. I'm like, well, making mistakes. See, that's why I'm staying on your ass.
What stands out for you from this season? You were on the box a lot.
Yeah. Just good years. I don't know. That's kind of like how my career was. It was like I just have good races and good and bad races, but I felt like, I don't know, at any time I could pull one out and win.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So
that always seemed, just looking through your results, that's what it seemed like. And
It was inconsistent as far as, like, I wasn't a guy winning every single weekend, which is like what you see now more days because the two guys are just cleaning house, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. The competition was gnarly, I felt like, back then too. I mean, not saying it's not now, but it's, I don't know. It was, a lot of those dudes were raw.
Yeah, for sure. That
and
was
still are, even at their old age or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so let's catch up to where we are here. Anything you remember from that championship in the summer? Like, did you get into the battle with those two guys at all?
With Townley and Villapoto?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I won, High Point or whatever. And
yeah.
There's a couple other good races in there, but they were on a pretty gnarly level. I remember Townley when he got here, he was flying.
He's a beast.
Yeah. And he rode good. He was training with Alden, so.
But it seemed like of all those guys, they were all pretty clean. Like Shorty would clean you up. But
yeah.
These two were clean. I don't remember RV or Townley being like dirty.
RV, all he had to worry about was Lawrence coming at him. So that was kind of like
that's
that
right.
whole mess.
He was in that mix too, huh?
Yeah. Where I'm just, I was dealing with them, just trying to beat them. That's it.
Yeah.
Nobody was really that dirty.
You ever have any issues with J-Law?
I don't know. Probably a couple times.
Yeah.
Not really on the track.
Okay.
'Cause I just beat his ass, but.
Off the track, you guys?
Both, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a couple house parties he went to, and I was like, hey, get your ass out of here, because if not, we're going to fight.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. But it was fun. I mean, I really got along with him. He's not a bad kid, but he was doing some stupid shit. That's
he was
for sure.
cocky back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he was good. There was another kid, when he was on that year he won.
Yeah.
He was fun to watch. Just
he's got talent.
And you know what he did? He rode.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. Another guy. Do you see him down in Florida?
I do, actually, because we'll go to some of the local races or whatever, and he'll be trying to get like Cowie contingency bucks or whatever. So
I love seeing him out.
Yeah,
still
he's still a character too. It's crazy.
He is.
Yeah,
he's funny. He did some race recap stuff for us last year, and he would kind of break things down and talk about what he saw, and I'm like, bro, you're really good. Like he was
probably doing that even before. You know what I mean? Like he's still into it.
Oh, totally. Like probably more than you and I. I
mean,
he's super analytical about what he's seeing and why, and his just sometimes his packaging is so rough. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, you'd actually be really good at this.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have to get a haircut and
a bunch of other shit.
So just keep doing you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna take a quick break here. We're gonna come back with 08. We'll start there. This is your Trolley Designs timeout, guys. Stick around. We're gonna be right back and pick it up here with Josh Grant.
Dunlop. There is a reason every AMA championship in the past decade was won on Dunlop tires. They are the best. Choose the best performing tire and a brand that has never wavered in their support of our sport. Choose Dunlop. Pro Circuit. Pro Circuit products are designed with one goal in mind: winning. Through passion and hard work, Pro Circuit has operated the most successful 250 team in the history of the sport. They use that same formula when developing exhaust, engine, and suspension parts for every brand. When only the highest level of performance is acceptable, trust Pro Circuit.
At Seat Concepts, our handcrafted seats are made in America. Visit us online or call today. Seat Concepts. Ride the world with us.
Something from nothing. That's what Nihilo Concepts is about. It starts with a spark, an idea, a concept, which leads to a design, and finishes with engineered excellence with the highest quality products created with durability in mind. All our products are made in the USA at our state-of-the-art facility in Stuart, Florida. Whether you are a weekend warrior, ride for fun, or at the highest level of competition, Nihilo Concepts offers innovative titanium, aluminum, and carbon fiber parts for your dirt bike. We offer a wide variety of products that you can customize to your liking. Browse our site for foot pegs, brake tips, engine components, specialty tools, frame grip tape, lever grips, carbon fiber components, motor stands, our secondary on-switch, plus much more. Head to NihiloConcepts.com and see for yourself why factory teams like Red Bull KTM, Rockstar Husqvarna, Troy Lee Designs Gas, Orange Brigade, Club MX, KLM Gas, and some of the fastest riders in the world choose Nihilo Concepts.
Welcome back. That was your Troy Lee Designs timeout. If you guys haven't checked out all the new gear that's out from TLD, go do it. The SE helmet, SE5 helmet is out. It's amazing. SE gear, GP gear. If you're looking for off-road stuff, they've got the Scout line. Just lots of cool stuff. Helmet paint, mountain bike gear. Check out our friends at Troy Lee Designs. All right, let's pick it up in 08. Tell me what you did that year. Were you still Geico Honda that year?
Yep.
That was your
Torco, or it was one of the, yes.
Whatever it was. Yeah. I don't know if it was Geico. Yeah. I don't know when they came in, but was this your last year with them? Third year?
Yeah, this would be like fourth year or something. Fourth year.
Okay.
Yep.
So this, you made an interesting move here, and I want to talk about this. So good results. You went back to the East Coast.
Yep.
Like you're bouncing back and forth. Had some good results. Second at Mini, second at Dallas, third at St. Louis. But you did a 450 race in Seattle. And you got sixth.
Yeah.
Like just hopped on and did a sixth. I'm like,
it was, I don't know why they had me do that. I think it was maybe to jump because they wanted me to maybe move up the following year. They were doing something because Kevin was on the 450 program, doing his own thing. But originally it was like him and LaRocco as a two-guy team on a 450. Okay. So I don't remember what the full reasoning was for Seattle, but I remember hopping on a 450 for that, yeah.
And, obviously you rode a 450 as maybe not as an amateur.
I did a little bit, yeah, because I rode a 250F and 450 right when they first came out. But that was because I just got off 125, and I only rode it for a short amount of time before I went to Geico.
Yeah.
Or to Factory Connection.
Yeah, you started kind of right as the four-stroke transition was happening.
Right then. I rode 125, 252 stroke at one of the races, and I think I started riding the four strokes when I went to Lake Whitney for Honda Houston. And that was 03 or something like that, yeah.
Something like that. I have to go back. I don't think Honda made one until 03.
Yeah.
So, interesting. Okay. So, dude, to just jump on and get a sixth?
That was pretty good. I was feeling pretty good on that bike.
Did you surprise yourself?
Well, I knew how I rode 450s, like just from riding them at home or whatever, you know, because we had practice bikes and all that other stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is going to be my bike. Like more power, bigger jumps, faster speed. Like I was like, yeah, this is going to be good.
Well, and that Honda was good.
Yeah.
The 08 Honda just...
And I only think they threw a couple settings at me for that race because Seattle was always super gnarly, rutted, and just blown out. But yeah, I remember it being a pretty decent night. Yeah, and that was the last time I rode it. Then it was done. It was back to lights. Like I didn't do any more rounds.
Just one time.
Yeah, it was just one time.
Okay, what did they say to you after that? Was that? There had to have been like I'm sure there was a lot of eyeballs went.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I think we were trying to probably work on something at that point. but my agent, I think, was Bob Walker at that time.
Okay.
Yep.
He's a good dude. I like Bob.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty incredible. Okay, so 2008, did you get hurt this year? I'm trying to look here. You missed some rounds. Like, you went to Seattle, and then I don't see you again until June. So you missed the whole month of May and the whole month of June. It was the end of June.
I don't know.
Don't remember?
Was that West Coast or East Coast or whatever?
You were doing East Coast lights, so maybe it was just the West Coast break. But where's the opening round of Nationals?
Yeah, I don't know.
It wasn't Thunder Valley, so yeah.
I missed a couple.
Well, anyway, you jump back on the lights bike, seconds, fourths, thirds. You won it. Oh, no, that's the next year. Hold on. Slow down. So decent summer. Finished the summer out. What happened the next year? Because you went to JGR Yamaha, right?
2009, I signed to go to JGR and moved back to North Carolina. So I moved everything from Florida and went out and lived up in North Carolina.
So how did that happen? Obviously, those guys had their eye on you. I'm sure at Seattle, they went like, oh, there's a guy.
Yep. So Coy, he came up and was just like, hey, we'd like to have you for next year. I think I was trying a couple different bikes. I think MDK was one of them. And I rode that thing out at Glen Helen. It was like the KTM 450, and at that time, it was like a street bike, but did not handle like any. So I'm like, nope, out on Jägermeister. Or
handled like a shopping cart.
Yeah, I was like, no. And then I went out and did a couple tests with JGR, and I wanted to change. It was something different, something new. What
year did that bike? I'm trying to remember when Yamaha did the reverse engine. Was that
2010? I remember. They ruined it. They ruined the bike.
Okay, so this was still the old chassis, which worked well.
And they had 10 years of development on that,
right?
GL and everybody else on that thing. I mean, that bike was one of my all-time favorites.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's funny because it's funny to watch the cycles, right? Because the Yamaha 450 now is a weapon.
Yeah.
The 2008 Honda was a weapon, but in 2009, do you remember? Did you ever ride that thing?
Yeah, I did. It was bad.
It's terrible.
Well, actually, no, it wasn't 2009. I think I might have rode it, but it was in one of the years I rode for Honda, right in between the JGR years. And it still wasn't good because I think it was still on year 3 or whatever it was, development.
I had BT riding for me in 2010.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we did everything you could do to it. And he just had to ride it, you know. And he did a good job on it, but it's like it was a turd.
Yep.
They called it the funny car. Remember? Because it was all stink
bug and straight fender.
Okay, so was that a tough decision to go there?
No, I think it just made sense because it was.
And you didn't point out. You went up on your own.
I went up on my own.
So this was something that's what I wanted to ask you about. I don't see that happen, and it takes a lot of balls, which is kind of. You must have some big testicles. You've done this kind of throughout your career. Like, hey, there's a moto. If you don't want to hire me, I'm out.
Yeah.
Let me know. Nick Way moved up, but he pointed out.
Yep.
And he went on without a championship to have a good career. I honestly cannot think of anybody else. Maybe Heath Voss moved up on his own accord and had a good career. But you just went, I'm done. I want to move up.
Yep.
And you did it. Because normally the path is win a 250 title and then you'll get a 450 ride, right? Look at every factory guy. They've all won a 250 title.
Right.
And so you went against the grain and you came out and freaking won the opener.
Yep. Yeah, Anaheim won. That was insane because I was feeling good on that bike anyway, but when Coy and them, we kind of didn't know what to expect. And I was kind of going into that race thinking like this was my first race again. Like all the big guys. It was stacked.
Yeah.
So to win that one was like, oh, man. Yeah, here we go.
So tell me about the decision to move up. Were you just like, I'm done with this class. I want to ride the big bike. What was
I wanted to move up. I just wanted to ride the bigger bike. I was already 4 years in lights class, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I want to try it. And that opportunity came about. So when Coy approached us, was like, yeah, we want to sign you.
Yeah.
Do a 2-year deal. I was like, done. Let's go.
Damn. Second year was not so good.
No.
If only you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Well, I admire that, man, because like I kept trying to win that title in my career and just never could. Second, but like I see this and I'm all, damn it, maybe I should have just went for it.
Yeah.
But there wasn't teams back then. The only non-factory team was Moto XXX.
Right.
Not on the level of like a JGR. Now we have, HEPs. You got other teams.
You got a lot of satellite ones that still have some decent, stuff for sure.
At least in 09, that Yamaha, that JGR Yamaha was competitive.
Oh, it was
good.
It was baller. That bike was good.
Really?
Yeah. It was one of my favorites. Like, handling, everything. Like, I didn't have to do much. And obviously, with their technology at that time, they were putting in some serious time into those engines.
Yeah.
And so they were fast, too.
You had Dean. Was Dean making the motors? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they had
Dean Baker.
Good crew over there. And 08 was when GL won the outdoor title, right?
Yep.
And that was on the new frame. That's
frame.
what, like, okay.
Yep.
All right, so take me through Anaheim 1. How was your qualifying, like, throughout the day? Were you like,
I think it was pretty decent. Like, I think I was in the top 5 or something on the board, off and on, here and there. And then maybe got shuffled back a little bit just because, when you throw down one, there's a lot of guys that can throw down some freaking heaters. But I just felt comfortable. We rode press day that weekend, so we were up at like 5:30 doing news channel crap. And then I think there was a rhythm or something in there that was like a 3 over, and then you could quad and then do the normal triple.
Okay.
And it was that night or that morning when we were doing the news stuff, I was just feeling it. I don't know what. And I was just getting dirty, just throwing whips. It was all foggy. You could barely even see inside the stadium. And Alex and them were like, dude, chill. Like, the race is tomorrow. Like, you just got to just ride around. And I'm like, no, I'm good, dude. I'm just feeling it. So I was kind of already feeling it before the weekend even, like, really started. But
so take me through that race. Because
it was insane, honestly, because I know Chad and James were on a different level that round, at that time. James was flying. Chad was riding good. Those two were up in their kind of their own battle where I was like, all right, I'm going to take a podium. Like, I got this. I know I got short covered and da-da-da, right? So I was just going to take it in. I mean, it was still – I was only like halfway, maybe even halfway through that race.
Which still, dude, you're third in your first 450 Supercross. Yeah. You're going, I got Reed and Stewart in front of me.
But I knew I could beat – everybody that was behind me. I knew that those two guys were going to be the guys that were like, all right, that's going to be somebody I need to chase or, work on, or work towards. And then when those two knuckleheads got together and I came around, I'm just like, oh, all right, I guess I'm taking it. Like, I'm going.
Was that halfway point-ish? Where was that?
It was somewhere. I think it might have been before half. I don't know. It was a while. So I had and then it kind of felt like that race was like forever long. Because I'm looking at it, I'm just like, man, where's the white flag, And then, but I was just in a groove, riding good, feeling good.
And it rained, wasn't it?
It was kind of dewy. Yeah, It wasn't bad, but it was kind of, getting a little bit like that Anaheim little drizzle, slick. And next thing you know, I sucked that banner in my wheel.
Yeah, what happened? I just remember that thing smoking. I'm all, oh, no.
I never even knew I had it. So I came over the finish line, going through the first turn, had no idea. Like, I was even dragging it. And then I came around the first turn, and I went to go seat bounce this little double before the whoops, or the rollers or whatever. And as soon as I seat bounced, I thought my bike locked up. It was like, whoa, and it just bogged. And I'm like, oh, shit. Like, I thought I was going over the bars. And land, it kind of bumps back up, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm not giving up. And I'm just going to go until the bike blows. Like, if I get hurt, whatever, it is what it is. And went into the turn, had no back brakes.
Yeah, I almost
rolled
went
over the berm.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. So when I did the triple, I looked down and I saw the banner was in my wheel. So I'm like, all right, I know it's that now. I'm just going to be heavy on the clutch and just keep the wheel spinning and do whatever jumps I can do. And then it turned into I can just pretty much do all the jumps. I just didn't really have back brakes.
You had no brakes the whole time?
No rear.
Could you, like, cook it off? Or?
No, it was nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just done. So I was just running front brake and just jumping everything at the same time, but just kind of roll speed. Which we practice anyway, like at practice tracks, you would jump and just ride.
Yeah, you're not super heavy on the rear.
And that's why Shorty started catching maybe a little bit, but I had such a big gap on him that I was like 14 seconds. I'm like, I'm good. I can literally do that, Yeah. And
what was it, like 3 laps left?
I think it was 2 to 3 laps left, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we came over the jump. I think I came over the finish line, and I was so pumped that there's no way I didn't know that Jeremy, I thought he jumped out of the tower because he was down in the first turn, like before I could even like come around with his hands up. I'm like, there's no way he came down the tower that fast. But J-Bone was so, it was cool to get them their first win.
Heck yeah.
They had went through a lot with Hansen and Josh Summey and all those guys that were, when they first started their team.
Yeah.
So, and Coy, he believed in me, and we put a lot of work in. Like, it was good.
Yeah, I remember back then, early on, they were like making guys live there. You had to do their program, like with their.
I worked with trainer Tim and all their guys.
Was it good? Because like you'd hear people go, "Oh, he's trying to train us like football players."
I didn't mind it because for me it was we weren't cycling 100 miles a week. You know, it was like, no, we're in the gym. We're getting stronger. I mean, we still did fitness tests and running and, you know, that kind of crap. But it was just different. It was a different kind of training. And it was because Coy wanted to see you and make sure you're doing the work. They're putting the money into you, and they wanted to, you know, have a little bit more control over what their guys were doing. Yeah. Which isn't a bad thing at all.
What do you think why did they go away? Like, what do you think would happen with that team? To me, that was – you see all of these teams like the MDKs and the like Kwame had a couple of different teams, but like they were the one group I thought, okay, these guys are here. This is going to be like a permanent fixture in our sport. Yeah. Which would have been great. What do you think like happened there? Why did that go sideways?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if it was just, you know, who they'd hire, or if they were just kind of getting over it, or, you know, I mean, it's hard to say exactly. They had the money to do it, you know. Coy had the passion to do it for a long time too. So I don't know.
Yeah, it was just one of the things that I scratched my head and I go, man.
I think dealing with Yamaha at some point too, they finally got like they were butting heads with Keith, and, you know, like it just I don't know if it took the fun out of it for Coy, because Coy was doing it more for like a hobby, not a hobby, but I guess, you know,
he didn't have to do it.
He didn't have to do it. But he also really liked doing it, so maybe he just started losing that. I don't know. Well,
you see that a lot, right? Like in the sport, it's one. If you think you're going to go in and make money with a race team, you're mistaken. And you know, like for these guys that are really wealthy, even if they have all the money in the world, it becomes not fun after a while. You know, it's just problem after problem, and they need more money, and it's hard. Like I always say, if your team doesn't sell something, if the race team isn't a marketing tool for something, right? I don't know if it's going to stick around. Yeah, right. It's like it makes me nervous for that HEP Suzuki team.
Yeah. Because the second Kenny's gone, it's like, then what? You know, because he is the face, he is the brand, he is what that is. You know.
Maybe I hope I'm wrong, but like that's kind of the trend I've seen, even with when Factory Connection kind of stepped out of that race team and it was Geico Honda. Yep. I mean, all of a sudden you're not selling anything. You know what I mean? You're not selling a motocross product, so. All it takes is them to pull out.
I hope it keeps going, and I hope that they, you know, we need it. We need that in our sport. We need more opportunities and more seats.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, for guys that are moving up.
Well, what do you think? I mean, we're going to have them just based on all these new manufacturers with Ducati and Triumph coming in, and now Beta. Cool. Yeah. We're getting to a place where the whole 250 main event or 450 main event is going to be factory guys. Yep. Like, is that good?
Well, I mean, it's it's going to change regardless. So you know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's just interesting. Like if you're a privateer guy, you're kind of going like, really? I mean,
where it used to be like 5, 7, whatever factory guys, and the rest were just
like 10 privateers. You know, that's kind of how it always was.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's good, but
I mean, it's good that it opens up more seats for the guys to maybe get something to get paid or to be able to do what they want to do. And
we need more. We for sure need more jobs, and we need the money to be better. I think it's better. It's a hell of a lot better than it was in my day. Yeah, I think you guys did really well, like up until the crash in 08, and then I think it dipped again.
Dipped again. We made it work.
Yeah. Well, the risk you take, the ability you got to have. It's like, man, I know that you can only get paid what the market will allow. Yeah. Like we're not as big as stick and ball sport, but it's a shame to see guys just work their asses off, get broken off, and retire. And they're like, I don't have much. Yeah. I don't have much to show for it. Yep. Okay, so you win this one. You go to Phoenix. You get third the next weekend. Mm-hmm. I mean, JGR is looking like geniuses right at this point. 5-5, still really good.
I think I got St. Louis as a podium also.
4-5 at Anaheim, and I mean you didn't have a bad round until San Diego.
Yeah, I got knocked out at San Diego.
Oh, you did?
Had a big crash, yeah. And I just for some reason never liked San Diego, and not saying that I mean I'd say that now, but going into that round I was always like a lot of my friends got hurt at that race.
Was this Petco or was it still Qualcomm?
That was Qualcomm.
Qualcomm was like a death bowl.
Yeah, Chad loved it. I hated it, but there was a lot of my buddies that got ruined there. And I just was like, you know what? I'm just not a fan of that one. And I got knocked out at that race, so I'm like, just want to throw that one away.
Jason Charletta, you remember him?
I got him on my arm.
Oh, yeah?
I grew up with Jason in Riverside.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We went to the same school together. We did all that. And then James Marshall. Yeah. And then Justin Smith was a Honda guy from Texas. And then, like a lot of J's in there. So I was like,
Jimmy Button.
Jimmy, yep.
I broke my femur there. I have always had bad vibes for that.
So once it switched to Petco, I was like, yes. All right. Maybe a fucking fresh start. Maybe some different feeling.
Indian burial ground or something.
Yeah, it felt like just bad.
I agree, dude. Every time I went there, I'd feel that just like, and maybe it was just because so many bad things happened.
Yeah.
But why'd so many bad things happen?
Yeah.
It was really weird. Okay, keeping going. You kind of came back then, 4th at Indy, like 3rd at St. Louis. I mean, bro, you were, a great year. Great year. I don't know where you finished overall. Let's see. What was it, 09? Soupy, 4th.
Yeah.
Damn, dude, 4th, your rookie year.
It was good.
And you got to win, bro. That is like such a small list of people who've won a 4D Supercross.
I know. It's pretty crazy. I didn't realize how small it was. And then my dad's like, he still reminds me. He's like, you know that you won that? And there's not many people that have actually still, to this day, have won 450 race. I'm like, fuck, I didn't know that.
It's a big deal, dude, because like a guy like Jet will come in and just gobble up all the wins for years.
Yeah.
So then the list doesn't grow.
Yeah.
You had Ricky, you had James, awesome. So congrats. That's like it's such a cool thing. I know it doesn't, I don't know what it means to you, but like to put your name in the record books like that, it's pretty sweet.
I know. I see one of those trophies over there. I got one. Yep. The Gold Globe over there.
The Gold Globe?
That's the Anaheim, isn't it?
Yeah, that was 2000. Yeah, they're hard to get, any of them, but the 450 ones, there's a lot of really, really good riders that didn't get one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm stoked. I'm stoked to be on that list.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Especially being that kid that was up, like I said, up in the nosebleeds watching that. I mean, I remember that night when I won, I looked up and I'm like, shit, I was right there. Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay, outdoors. How are you feeling outdoors on that thing?
Really
Still
good?
Yeah.
I know Chad and I were battling quite a bit that year. I had a lot of good races there too.
You podium Glen Helen. Who was in front of you?
It was me, Alessi, and Villopoto.
Okay.
Alessi had hole shot it or whatever. He was like checked out, but I remember Ryan caught him. I think I got did I get 3rd or something?
3rd, yeah.
Yeah, he was riding good that year too.
Yeah.
Alessi.
Yeah. Alessi was sneaky good when you look at his results. I know people hate on him and stuff, but that dude was 2nd and 3rd a lot.
When you start up front, it makes it a lot easier, and he was just really good at starting up front.
Yeah, you won, and then you won Redbud. Damn,
Yeah.
dude, what a season for you. You won a race indoors and out.
Yeah,
what was that like?
Couple.
And talk about the 2 best races to win: Anaheim and Redbud.
Yeah, 4th of July weekend at the gnarliest place. It's
maybe Daytona would be the only other one you'd want to win, but those are great.
Yeah. No, I had a good year that year too, especially outdoors. It all kind of went downhill after that. I think, what round was it? It was right after X Games because I broke both my ankles at X Games.
Oh, okay. So you raced Wash. You got
all the way to Budds Creek, I think, because I came back for Budds to try to race, and it was like way too much.
Yeah, you got 2nd at Washougal, which was July 25th, and then you didn't race against Budds August 22nd. So you were off a month. So that was X Games?
That was X Games week, yep.
What were you doing? Supercross?
We were doing,
Moto X, or whatever.
Yep.
And you broke both ankles?
Mm-hmm. We had an engine lockup in one of the rhythm sections, and I stepped off the front and grenaded both my feet.
Was that Home Depot Center?
Home Depot Center.
Damn it.
And that was the year I was battling with Chad because I had a lot of good finishes. I think it was like 6, 1, 4, 2. I was right in that hole.
You're in the mix.
Yeah.
Did you have any chronic injuries up to that point?
Not really, no.
You're pretty healthy.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the start of ankles?
That was kind of like start of, yeah.
Damn it.
And I was also wearing No Fear boots, which were like leather, like old school, like AXO, like, they were.
I don't even remember that.
Oh, yeah. No Fear boots were like, I felt like I was riding tennis shoes. They were I loved them. Like, it was so good, but
no,
they weren't good for hitting the ground.
If you were in Tech 10s there,
I probably would have been maybe okay, but I'm better.
Damn. Yeah, I wore AXO boots one year, and I twisted my ankles like 3 times that season. Like, you don't realize how big of a difference it makes.
Yeah.
And that's why everybody wears Alpine Star boots. Okay, so did you have surgery on them? Or just sat out?
I think I sat out. I don't think I had surgery on them at that point.
You just
broke?
They
were broke.
They were broken. Okay, so sat that out. Okay, so now you get the 2010 model.
Yeah, then everything.
Tell me about the first time riding that.
Good. I remember coming up to J-Bone and Coy brought the bike out. They were like, hey, it's our first one. We want you to get on the Supercross track. Just start testing it, whatever.
When was this?
This was, it was before Supercross. It was got to be sometime in, I don't know, October maybe, November.
Okay, so it's late. It's not like.
Yeah, we're not, because I don't think we had a lot of time to get it ready. But I remember they brought it out to the track, and J-Bone's like, all right, just go get a feel for the bike. I'm like, all right, no problem. New bike. The whole thing's new. Engine, this, that, air box, blah, blah. So I'm like riding and starting the thing up, and I'm like, man, this thing fucking just feels weird.
Yeah.
You know? And do a first couple of laps. I'm just putting around the Supercross track, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go hit the triple. And right when I go on the face of the triple, I just hear, whoa, and I'm like, and I throw the bike, and I jump off and just grenade this thing, like, right out of the gate. It's third lap. Like,
oh my
I mean,
gosh.
I was putting and rolling, but as soon as I went to get on the gas, well, it's because that air box was up front, and it just sounded so weird. And, like, they had holes and everything cut to get more air into it because they've been dynoing and da-da-da-da-da.
But
so
you thought something was wrong?
I thought something was wrong because I just hear, whoa, and I'm like, I hear this thing, so I'm just
my gosh.
chuck the bike, grenade the thing, and I'm
Your ankles are looking up at you going, really, dude?
yeah. And Jeremy's like, what happened? What happened? I'm like, I don't know. I think the bike was going to blow up or something. He's like, they go take it back to the shop, and they're like, nothing's wrong with it. Like, they run on the dyno, and I'm like, there's no way that just that feeling of the air intake and everything sucking the front.
It was loud.
It was loud, and they had it all cut up, and I was over it.
You didn't get hurt?
I didn't get hurt. But I remember telling Jeremy, I said, just let me ride my bike from last year, please. Like, I'll fucking crush it for you guys. Like, just let me ride that
There's
bike.
no way Yamaha would let that happen, though.
And Yamaha's like, nope. Coy's like, we can't do it. Can't do it. So, but they ended up figuring out, like, how to make it, you know. I mean, it was still okay. I mean, it was a really fast freaking bike, but it was scary to ride.
Yeah. I mean, like we said, this just when you get a new cycle of a bike and they make big changes like that, it just can take some time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
taken 10 years now. Or,
a
little bit more,
I guess you're right. It has multiple iterations. And so when did James ride for them?
2012. I don't know.
It was after, because I remember he was trying to get the bike skinnier. Like, he made all these changes.
James was in 09 was San Manuel with Larry or L&M.
Okay. And then 2010, was he still with L&M?
2010, he was still with L&M.
So what was he doing with it? Were you guys sharing any?
No, I don't think so at that point. I mean, JGR was kind of like doing their own. They were like, no, we're going to do our shit over here. And that's probably where Keith and Coy kind of started butting heads a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Coy's got all this
equipment
and technology. And Yamaha wanted him to listen to them.
Yeah. And we kind of battled, too, because there were some things. I remember when I'd come out here to California and ride, and Dyno and all those guys, and they'd come out and they'd bring stuff. I actually liked some of their settings. It would calm it down or make it better. But Coy was like, no, screw Yamaha. Like, we're going to do it. You know what I mean? Like, there was a couple of those episodes.
Not good.
But
you can't have that, dude, especially with a new bike like that. So did you – I mean, you still – well, okay, let's talk about Supercross. You did Anaheim 1, got a 20th, and then you were out.
Yeah.
What happened?
I got hurt. I blew out my shoulder. At it was a track over here in Paris, like had like a little Supercross track or whatever. It was actually, I got hurt before Anaheim. I just went to Anaheim to see if I could ride.
Oh.
It was like this guy Stefan.
Yeah.
I know
who you're talking about.
He had a Supercross track, and I remember skimming these whoops, and it just boom, just went down, tore my labrum.
Surgery and everything.
I had to have surgery, but I tried to race Anaheim, and it wasn't any good.
Yeah. Torn labrum.
Yeah. I went to a press conference because they wanted me there because I won the year before. So they're like, hey, we want you in the press conference. I had 2 black eyes. I had my shades on.
I need to find
it looked like,
that.
I think I was running militia with Brian then, so it looked like I'd just been in a bar fight. So, you know, just like jacked up.
Perfect. You should have just taken the shades off and go, what? Okay, so you were out all of Supercross.
Yep.
Come back at Hangtown. Got a 5th?
Yep.
Like, dude, I mean, your results are good.
Every time I came back, I only came back when I knew I was ready. Like, ready to fight. Like, that's it. I didn't want to show up just to show up.
Well, had they made some improvements on the bike?
I felt like they did, and it gave me time to kind of just settle down. And once I got after my shoulder, it was just like, all right, let's ride into this thing. Let me like start learning the bike again, and you know what I mean. Like,
Supercross day one's probably not a great idea. Huh?
No, it was horrible.
Yeah,
And it was cold because it was up there in North Carolina where, like, in the wintertime, it gets cold. So you could barely hold your hands. It's, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of just had a lot of things against that timing.
Yeah, dude, this summer, you were only out of the top 10 one time.
Yeah.
Damn, that's really good. 2010, what'd you end up overall? 457th? That's pretty good, dude. Jeez. Okay, so going into 2011, are you still with JGR?
2000, no.
Oh, you're on a Honda.
Yeah.
Yeah, where did you – I saw this, and I'm like –
yeah, I signed with Factory Honda that year. And I think it was the very first race we went to, Anaheim, was the Supercross. I remember this, yeah. I OJ'd the rhythm section in press day. Kind of not jacked myself up, but had a little close one.
Okay.
Didn't ride that great that weekend for my first round at Honda. I don't know what I got, but going into Phoenix, which was the next round, I got into it with the fucking Alessi brother again, Jeff at that point.
Okay.
And we got through the rhythm section, and he was just, typical Jeff. So he cut me over, and then took me out in a rhythm, and I blew my ACL at Phoenix. So I got up, and I'm like, so he tore my knee, and I was like, all right, motherfucker. Yeah, here we go. We had a lot of battles like that.
You guys did?
Well, not him and I. I'm just saying the Alessi group.
Yeah.
Like,
did that go back to?
That went back to when we were kids. I mean,
did your dad and his dad ever get into it?
Oh, I got some stories. Yeah.
Fights out at Paris.
Glen Helen mostly. Yeah. My dad's.
Your dad doesn't seem like a guy that would.
You don't mess around with him.
Yeah. Dang it. But
yeah, he took me out, and I was out for the whole year.
Yeah, you didn't come back till June.
Yeah, with Thunder Valley.
No, Buds, right? Bud.
Oh, I came back for no.
That's what it says right here.
What was the next one? Okay, so I think I did race Buds, and then it was Thunder Valley.
10th at Buds, not bad. Thunder Valley didn't go great.
Yeah, Thunder Valley was it.
That was it?
Mm-hmm. Or did I try to? I tried to race Red Bud after that because
you did Red Bud. You got 12.
I got a good story on that one too.
Okay.
This was the worst part about. My whole dream was to ride for Factory Honda. Finally get my Honda ride 2011. Tear my ACL there at Phoenix. Come back, try to race Buds. I remember that was the first one. I got 10th, not bad. Thunder Valley comes around. I go early, and that's the year that Lucas Oil was doing the drop-offs with the banners.
Remember that, yeah.
And Tim Cotter comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, why don't you come? I know you're here early. Come check out the track. We're gonna ride this side by side around, and I'll, tell me what you think of it. If there needs to be any changes, I'm the only guy out, really out the track." Sure, let's go, Tim. Hop in the thing. And they didn't properly mark. They were supposed to mark the jumps when they were done cutting the downhill or cutting off their drop-offs. Well, they didn't properly mark it. And so him and I are in the.
Was this at Red Bud?
No, that was it. This is at Thunder Valley.
They did it at Red Bud again. Do you remember that? They drove the mule off.
Yeah. Okay, so at Thunder Valley, the weekend before that is when. Him and I coming down the hill, which is the fast hill where James crashed or whatever. We're coming down, no problem. It's not marked, so he doesn't think that it's done yet. And we go over and we nose pick the Rhino like this, and I fly out of the fucking side by side. And the thing lands on my leg and blows my other knee out.
No, it does not.
Yep. I'm hurt the day before the race because Tim fucking flipped the damn side-by-side on top of us because they didn't properly mark the track. And as much as I don't want to say it, but Davey Coombs offered me a case of beer and a bottle of wine to cover the damages,
Well, that seems like a fair trade. Wow. Dude, I promise you.
And I tried to race Red Bud right after that and couldn't do it because my knee was blown. And that was my short-lived Honda career.
I don't know if it was the same year. I can't fathom that it would be back-to-back weekends. I watched them drive the mule off at Red Bud.
I swear I think it was the same year. It was the day, this weekend after they did the same thing again.
Unbelievable, dude.
Yeah.
I don't remember hearing that at all.
Yeah. And that was my whole 2011 year. And not only that year, just that crap happening, I had some family issues and a bunch of other crap going on that just was like.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to get into this, you don't have to. But I heard you had some issues with mom.
Yeah.
Money disappeared. And this has happened, dude. It happened to Ezra.
Yeah.
Happened to Millsaps, I'm pretty sure. Like pretty common. There's someone right now, I don't want to say anything, but like it happens a lot.
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, is what it is now, but
like you just think, how in the world do you steal money from your child?
I look at my kid and go like, there's no way. But I mean, I don't know. Some people are wired different. But I look back and, seeing all the crap. I mean, I was done racing after that. That year, I was like,
you said you're done.
Fuck, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm like, for one, I don't have anything else. Like, all my money's gone. Everything's gone. I lost
you
my
were
houses,
like broke.
everything. Yeah,
broke,
done.
broke.
Yeah. Didn't even know it until all this stuff happened. This stuff happening made me go, all right, I need to probably start figuring out my life. I'm this, however old. I want to, get my finances. My mom's been doing all my stuff for so long. I'm off all year. Like, now's the time to probably grow up. I have a wife, a baby. This is when Wyatt was born. So I was like, all right, time to grow up a little bit and start doing this. Well, that's when everything surfaced.
You start scratching into it and you got nothing.
And I was like, oh, shit, what's going on? And then it was, it just turned into that. And then I was pretty much over it. I was done racing. I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired of being hurt. I'm tired of the injuries. Tired of this. Now I'm just like, what next? And then it wasn't until a good friend of ours, Mike Kraniak, who owned the L&M team with Brooks, was doing a deal with Jeff Ward in 2012, and called my dad, and him and my dad are really good friends, and said, I want Josh to come race for me. And I was like, no. I told my dad, I'm not racing. Done. He goes, no, what are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, well, Mike's going to pay for you to come race. How else are you going to make money? I was like, I don't know how else to make money. It's the only thing I've ever done. I guess I'm going racing. So Mike pretty much reamped my career in 2012.
Didn't that team go tits up right away, though?
A year or two later, but yeah.
Okay.
But then again, 2012, I pulled some rabbits out of my hat,
Well, yeah, I mean, so this was on a Cowie, right?
This was, Cowie.
Was it just was it any factory help? If I
remember, I think they had some kind of help, not crazy, but they had like Dundee and a few of the good motor guys, and they had some decent equipment.
Okay.
Yeah. Paul was one of I think the team manager there, Deloria.
Yeah. Okay.
So
rough start, but by the 6th round, you get a second at New Orleans.
Yeah. Crazy.
Truly, your results are wild because you'll just at any time you could pull it out.
Yep.
It was kind of your
I
signature.
felt like I could do it at any time, and it's not like it was just. I always believed in myself no matter what. Like I could win. Like even if I wasn't in the top guy.
Yeah.
Like I was like, it's still gonna happen.
Headstrong.
Yeah.
Was this the Jeff Ward Racing team?
Yep.
Yeah.
JWR.
Okay. I was trying to think did you go to Factory Cowie at one point?
Yep.
Yeah. That's coming up.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out if this was it because it just says Cowie in the results. Okay. So 12 you're at this JWR. Okay. Pretty good season. Let's see. Supercross, you got a second, some top fives. Outdoors, top fives, podium at Steel City.
Yep.
Oh, Elsinore. What a nightmare that place was.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this is what's crazy. You'll just pull out podiums. So even if you got some rough finishes here and there, it's like, oh, he still got it.
Still capable of making it happen.
He still got it. Anything stands out from that season in particular?
Probably the two podiums on that team for sure. Definitely for where I was mentally and like rebuilding from back-to-back knee surgeries and all the stuff that was going on with my family and, losing everything and living at my wife's parents' house and, it was gnarly. Like that year was it was a crazy year in pivoting to what had all happened before then and how successful I felt in doing all that to where I ended up at that time.
Yeah.
And then to be able to go, all right, this is what I got to do to keep.
Let's start over. That's heavy, dude. It's a lot. And you get the pressure of having a kid too. Like, I don't know if people without children, and this isn't a diss, it's just reality. Like, I don't know if they understand the pressure of having to, like, you have to take care of your family.
Right.
Like, it changes your paradigm, I think,
Everything.
when you become a parent. Like, okay, it's not just me out here cruising. I could.
And it doesn't ever stop.
I could live in a car and go down and surf all day and live by the beach
Yeah.
selling chiclets if I wanted to. Once you have a kid and a wife, you're like, okay, I'm the man of this. It's a pressure, right?
And,
like
then, and then it never goes away. Like you're still to this day
until you
still
die.
Wide open.
Yeah. Hey,
What's
the good
next?
news is you only got about 40 years left, buddy.
Yeah, no.
Pressure's
just
off.
starting over again too.
Okay, following season, you're back on Yamaha.
Yeah, went back to JGR.
You did. Okay.
Yeah, Coy called me and was like, "Hey, we want you to come back."
How is your body at this point? The ankles?
Rebuilding, yeah. I still had jacked up ankles. At that, I had a bad race in one of the Supercrosses at Jeff Ward where I compressed my back and had some back issues, which, part of racing, I guess.
Yeah. So the ankles just never healed right, or they're just
weak. They were just, blown out from I kept rolling them, and I just never had I don't think I had surgery on them for a while.
Oh, you eventually did.
I eventually did, but I didn't have surgery. It was just my ligaments were so loose, and I'd always just get sprains very easy. I was taping them every weekend. It was survival mode because it was like if I'm out, I can't make any money. I can't race. I can't prove to myself to other teams to keep going.
Oh, it's a horrible position to be in where you're like, well, if I shouldn't be racing,
Right.
but if I don't, I'm not going to get a ride,
Right.
and then I'm done, and then I can't feed my family.
Right.
It's a brutal place our sport puts guys.
Yep.
Just part of the deal, though. Okay, so you go back there. How was the bike better?
I didn't feel like it was any better.
No better. Same piece of shit. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, here we go again.
Yeah. I mean, it was an opportunity to go race again, and
Yeah.
still keep food on the plate,
Okay.
like for sure. And I loved those guys. They were
Yeah.
part of so much success in my first year of 450s. Like it felt like home.
Well, they're great dudes, all of them. I mean,
Coy and Jeremy and everybody that was involved up there was.
yeah.
It was an easy decision to say because that's when the Wardy team kind of fell apart anyway.
Okay. You should be no surprise to anyone. Supercross is okay. Your top tens.
Yep.
And then we get to Redbud, and you pull out a podium again.
Yep.
Fifth at Unadilla. It's like you had some good finishes there. What stands out from that season? Were they happy?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they kind of knew what they were getting into, and I don't think there was anybody that stood out to them that year. I can't remember who was my team. I think it was Brayton was my teammate at that point.
Okay.
And I think maybe that was when they got over the James thing and all that. So
Okay.
I think it was just kind of like for both of everybody, just let's go race, let's get some decent people under here. And
There was a lot of drama with
there was a lot, yeah. So
And, well, I don't want to get into all that. There was a lot of money and drama involved. And,
yep.
yeah, they were probably just happy to go back. Okay, we know this is a good dude. We know he can pull out good
and we
rides.
get to go racing, and
Crazy that the bike hadn't really improved much, though.
I don't know. I don't know if James's setup was just, I think, wild in general. Like as far as what he liked on his
Super
dirt bike.
stiff front,
just
right?
Crazy, and I just never really gelled with it. And then so they started over really. They kind of he took them through a crazy rabbit hole where they're like, don't know where the good setting is.
We don't know where we are.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 2013. Did you sign a multi-year deal with them?
No, it was just 1 year.
Okay.
Yep.
What'd you do for 2014?
Rode for Chad. Went to 2-2 Motorsports.
That's right.
Yeah.
Gosh, I keep forgetting. You were all over this. That was a Cowie, right?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, how was that?
That was awesome. Chad was awesome, and we did. I mean, that was a good year too. We had some killer finishes then too.
I remember that. Did he win San Diego that year? Or
I think so, Anaheim or one of them.
It was like maybe one of the coolest wins I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
I can't remember why.
Discount tire. We had like our commercial with our kids going everywhere around. It was awesome. Like it was one of the best years we had.
Just a fun year.
Yeah. And but I mean, same thing, right? We had all the good mechanics. We had Oscar. We had Lars. We had,
Osterman.
Chad had set it up. Yeah. So it was really good.
Okay. Yeah. And good finishes, tons of top fives.
Yep.
And you guys I would say you guys are pretty similar, huh? Like,
yeah.
headstrong. Both like to celebrate a good finish.
Yep.
Don't take a lot of shit from anybody. Like you guys have a lot in common. I could see that being a good fit.
Yep.
So good there. What about 15, 16? Because your results were kind of the same. A lot of top fives. Look at this.
I think
5,
I
6,
ended
5,
up after Chad. I think that's when Chad decided to close 2-2 down because it was like in the middle of outdoors or something.
Okay.
And that's when I got the call from Fahey or Bruce and said, hey, we want you to come fill in at Factory Cowie.
Okay.
And I was like, done, let's go.
How was that bike compared to your 2.2 bike? Because 2.2 was
pretty similar.
Pretty Mitch.
Yeah.
Heavy, right?
Yeah, I mean, but it's more Chad. Like, he had kind of picked what he liked, We were working with X-Trig, and we had, he had certain things that he liked, and we were kind of on the same boat. I agreed with a lot of those things. Like, I liked the suspension. We kind of went back and forth, I think, between Showa and a few of their settings, but pretty similar.
Yeah.
I mean, the engine package might be a little different, but it wasn't bad.
So when you went to Cowie, it was just a pretty easy transition. Then.
Yeah, but it was more business. It was more like corporate, and which.
How is that Fahey guy? I don't. He's like
Dan's
one of the.
awesome.
Is he?
Yeah, he's really good.
He's one of the managers that I don't know. He kind of came in from not in the industry.
I think road race mostly.
Yeah. And so I don't really know him. I've never really had a conversation with him.
Yeah. Very cool and understanding, and like, it didn't really actually put pressure on you as a rider as far as like, they wanted the results, but it was all about building too. And when you're a number 2 guy, you're not really like, because I wasn't. Right. I was a fill-in, and then it was to Eli, and, you kind of take a back seat to the front. So I'm like, it was okay for me because I was like, hey, I'll take the pressure off. Gives me an opportunity to not have the pressure, but still go out and, try to beat him.
Yeah. So. You got it all upside at that point, right? So that was just 2015. 15?
And then I rode for, I think I did a fill-in for a couple of them, and that was it. It was just a fill-in ride.
Okay.
So 2016, I didn't have anything.
Okay.
At all. Until I went and rode on my own at Daytona on a Suzuki.
What? I don't remember that at all. What year was that? In 15?
That was 16.
In 16?
I think.
Oh, you went to Daytona and you got 7th?
Yep.
On a Suzuki?
On my own, yeah. Jamie built me a Suzuki, and I said, hey, I feel like I'd worked with the guys at Paula, and it was one of the main chairmans or whatever over there, and I asked him, I was like, hey, I have this idea about going and racing this race at Daytona. It's across the United States, blah, blah, blah. And that's right when Paula actually started building the like a supercross track for everybody to practice on. Okay. So they built that track for me to practice and do all that, but then they were going to open it up, and so I worked out a deal with Paula to do a one-race deal, and just for fun, and I ended up going out and getting 7th at Daytona. Drove across country with just me and my buddy.
Oh my gosh! In a truck or what?
In my Sprinter van.
Okay.
Yeah, and I called it a fishing trip because I really actually wanted to go fishing with my buddy Gino in Florida because he's a charter, and I'm like, oh, let's go. We're gonna go fish, but really we're gonna go race Daytona.
We'll swing by Daytona.
Yeah,
and
we'll swing by Daytona and hit this race. Kind of like old school, privateer style, just like out of the box van type, vibe. Super fun. And ended up turning it into a 7th. But before that, we stopped at like a wing place or wing house or something, and we were watching the race, just me and my buddy. And that's the race that Will and Shorty and all those dudes got in that first rhythm pile up and took Will out and everybody, right? And so Will got hurt. And it was, I think, Pike or I don't know, somebody.
Yeah, I remember. It was ugly.
It was a bad one. And, I mean, probably not 10 minutes after that crash.
Shut up. Your phone rings.
Yeah, J-Bone, and they were texting me, hey, would you be able to? And I said, look, I'm coming to Daytona. I'm racing this race for Paula. I have an obligation to do this. I'm doing this first. We'll talk at the race.
I'm going to go fishing.
Yeah, I'm going to go fishing. I'm going to get up I got my priorities first, And so I got there, and Dan came up to me and said, hey, Will's going to be out, and we want you to fill in. I said, after Daytona, I'll start.
So how much were you riding leading up to Daytona then?
A little bit, just because I wanted to get used to the bike. And I went and stayed out at Chad's house for a little bit because he was still in Dade City.
Okay.
So I went and rode like a week before Daytona at Chad's and hung out.
But you don't have a ton of seat time.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
But enough to where I could go race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got 7.
And then I think I missed the next one, and then I started at Detroit with Cowie.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was this run any different? It
was just – I mean, it was towards the end of the season or middle or end of the season.
Oh.
So
was this the year where Eli won the title and you got in the mix at Vegas? What year was that?
It might have been. What is that? No, 17.
That was 17.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to
because that was a Dungey and all that.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Okay, so they're obviously happy with you. They signed you just again for 17?
Yep. They signed me for a year, I think.
Okay.
Got a 1-year deal.
And you're pulling out podiums again. Podium at Vegas, podium at Hangtown.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2017. Let's talk about this, dude. Anything else stand out from that year for you?
And 16, nah, not really.
What about
17, yeah. 17 was, I mean, like I said, got a couple podiums, riding for Factory Cowie with Eli, I was feeling pretty good.
Were you? So,
but I got to say that in 2016, when Dan had asked me that, I think it was one of the races, he wanted me to go get my ankles fixed. So it was like, hey, I want you to go take the time off to get your ankles done. But you got to be ready. So I think that might have been for 18.
Okay.
So in 17, he was telling me that. Like, you need to go get your ankles fixed.
Damn.
And I was cool with that. I was like, man, this is going to give me an opportunity to actually, like, kind of fix myself and then
come back 100%.
And then not have to worry about a job. And so I did. And the problem is I couldn't find a doctor that would do the surgery on both ankles at the same time because it would take too long. You can only be under anesthesia for a certain amount of time. And so I was calling, like, Angels guys and everybody I knew, and nobody would touch it because they were like, no, because I had a time frame. I couldn't do one, do the healing, and then do the next one and do the healing and be ready for Supercross. So one of our he's my friend now. I mean, Navarro has helped me find a guy in Fullerton called Dr. Nas, and he actually works on a bunch of guys now. And we told him the situation. I said, hey, I have to be ready for this race, which means I need to be ready. I need to be riding by this date. I need to get both of these ankles done at the same time. And he's like, it's going to be tough, but I'll try. That's the only thing I can say.
I'll try? Oh, my gosh.
And so I went in, and I just pretty much had one of the gnarliest surgeries I've ever been through my whole life. Like, I thought knee surgeries and, like, ACLs and reconstructions and shoulders and labrums, all that were pretty bad. Nothing takes the cake at having both my ankles replaced. Like,
replaced or repaired?
No, like, I have, like, artificial stuff. Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And so he sends me the video. Like, I told him, hey, I want you to document it and, send the videos and all that stuff. So I have all the videos.
It's gross, huh?
It's so gnarly. And now I understand why I was in so much pain. But I was able to get through all that. Like,
so you're obviously completely off your feet for how long?
I was in a chair for 2.5, 3 months.
And just pain pills?
In summer,
and
It was no, actually, no, I didn't do pain pills.
No?
I'd get sick.
Oh.
Yeah, every time they were like, oh, yeah, here, take Norcos or whatever else it was. No, I just smoked. Yeah, I just used cannabis. And that was it. And honestly, I was like stoked because I didn't feel nauseous. I didn't, but I just was like, nope. And it was super mellow for me. So I was like, I'm not doing pain pills. I mean, I've seen way too many of my friends get addicted.
It's smart, dude. I mean.
And yeah, crazy.
So how are they now?
They still one's really good, but I screwed another one. I screwed my right one up going back and racing again, and it was in that year. I think at Washougal, I broke my the top of it, and I ended up getting it plated, and now it's kind of jacked up. But
is there? I mean, did they say, hey, if you screw this thing up, you're
no? I can go get it fixed.
You can get it fixed. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Like with knees, you only get
a couple.
A couple, and then they're like, we're taking your leg right here, like sketchy. Wow, dude. Okay. That's gnarly. So you did that when? After?
I think it was in 17, right after High Point.
Okay. Well, you raced through Southwick, so it must have been after Southwick.
Maybe.
July?
Yeah, sometime after that.
That would have given you enough time. I mean, not a ton of time, but enough time. Okay, so let's talk about Vegas, dude, because I want to pick your brain here on a couple of different things. Obviously, if people don't remember this was Dungey was leading the championship. Eli was second. You were his teammate. I don't know if Dungey had a KTM teammate or not.
It was Marv.
It was Marv?
Yeah. But he went out. I think he crashed or something, and he was out of the race.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm asking because we've seen this. We saw this at the finals this year. I don't know if you watched team strategy, right? And I'm so torn on it, dude, because part of me hates to see it. It's like, dude, just go race, and the chips fall where they may. Right. And it's like the other side is, well, there's a lot of money on the line. There's so do whatever you can do within the rules to do it, right? So Eli was out front and slowed down and actually pushed Dungey off the track at one point.
Yep.
And he was hoping you would catch up, and he needed you to be in front of him. He needed to win. You had to be second, right? And maybe –
No, he needed to be fifth.
Dungey did.
Dungey needed to be fifth, and Eli needed to win.
So it was a stretch.
It was a good, I mean, but what he did is he bottled everybody up.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, those two were riding. They were going to be gone. If they just raced each other, they would have been just 1 and 2 or whatever in Dungey. But Eli's strategy was hold them up, let whoever else is back there try to get in the mix, and maybe something will happen.
Because you caught up. Like, it was working.
Yeah.
And who else was in there?
Still podium that race. It was Anderson, Reed, myself, Baggett.
Yeah.
And then Anderson went and took Chad off before the finish line. So Chad went out because that would have been another spot for Dungey. That could have got in the middle of Dungey or whatever. And
Anderson was
Rockstar Husky, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's playing for that team.
But he wanted the podium because he wants to win, or the win or whatever because he wants the bonus. He was not even worried about their battle.
So what are your thoughts on all of it? Like, do you think, hey, it's all's fair in love and war and racing?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, they had asked, all right, there's going to be some team tactics. It's like, did Eli, is he going to pay you to go take out Dungey or da-da-da-da? And I'm like, no. For one, he's not like that. Eli doesn't race like that. His strategy was perfect. Get in front, hold him up, maybe something will happen, and I'll try to check out and win.
Yeah.
And my whole thing was I didn't care. I don't care that it's your championship or his championship.
Yeah.
I'm going for how am I going to get on the podium so I can make a bonus check.
Yeah.
And that's it, you know.
Well, you just saw at Salt Lake this year, and what happened with Beaumare and Hammaker, and then RJ and Hammaker, and then even in the big class, there was a couple of bumps on Coop as he was coming through. Malk gave him a little nudge, and Chase Coop checked up really hard when Chase went by. I don't know if you saw it, and Chase kind of looked over.
Yeah, oh wait, I'm gonna wait for you, kind of. Yeah.
So those conversations are all had back in the pits before the race.
Coops knows how to play it.
Dude, that's a smart guy.
Yeah. And I mean, even the Beaumare and Hammaker and all that, it does suck. I feel like for Hammaker, that was that. I don't know. RJ's path. It is what it is. It's hard to say, but.
So I don't, like I said, I'm torn both ways. I get it, but then I'm also like, that sucks.
Yeah.
But that's why you were involved in it. That's why I wanted to pick your brain on it.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're like, hey, I'm just doing me.
Yeah.
I want to get up there to get more money.
Yeah. But I think RJ's attempt or his pass wasn't really a pass. It was more of take you out and whatever. So I feel like that's different. Eli didn't do that. He didn't go just blast Dungey and then take them both down.
Yeah.
Or I didn't come out of the middle of nowhere out of a whoop section and just center punch him. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of level of respect that he's going to learn when he gets to this big bike that, maybe not with these guys because I feel like a lot of these guys are softies now.
Well,
they'll give you room, but then it's nobody rides you like Barsha, he's a guy that would be, kind of in our era that goes, all right, you ride me dirty or you ride me hard, then expect me to be
coming
there.
back.
It's coming back.
Well, I think the whole sport as a whole, and we sound like old guys.
Now you get fined. Now you get, now you get black flagged or you get, Anderson or whatever.
Well, what happened with Deegan bumping off
that was nothing.
Davies? It was nothing.
And that was Davies' fault for leaving the door open. And in that, he barely even touched him.
I know.
But
he looked over. I think that's what bugged people is he hit him and then he looked over.
That's Hayden.
But really, it is Hayden.
Yeah.
Davies just needed to check up.
Yeah.
He had the position check up.
You got beat. Yeah.
People were so balled up about it.
I get it.
Anyway.
It is what it is.
Okay, so throughout 17, again, third at Hangtown, you fire off the Nationals with a podium. And then after Southwick, you sit, and you were 6th at High Point, 6th at Redbud. Good finishes.
Yeah.
And then here you went and got your ankles fixed.
Yep.
So you're back at Cowie in 2018.
Yep.
Ankles are good.
Yeah, really good.
Knees are good.
Everything felt pretty good. Yeah.
All right. So how did that season go through? Because something happened at San Diego here. It looks like. Did the big blue monster get you again?
Yeah, something. That was the damn San Diego.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what happened at San Diego, but I remember that you're starting off, I think, pretty decent, right?
You're all top 10s.
Yeah.
And but then you're gone from San Diego to Washougal, so you're off a hot minute.
I can't remember exactly. Oh, that was my ankle. I think I jacked up my ankle at San Diego.
Oh, that's when you heard it again.
That's when I heard it again, and then I went and got it plated.
At San Diego it happened?
Yeah.
Son
and
of
I
a
got
bitch.
it plated, and I went to Washougal and tried to race. I remember that one, and it didn't work out.
Painful.
Yep. I think I bent the plate and everything in it, launching off the wall to that flat area, whatever.
Sandy little area.
Just ruined it.
Were you in better boots by that point?
Just in the Alpine Star, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just the damage was done from the old
It was
leather
over.
one?
Yeah, it was over.
All right, so what did you do for 2019? Where were you?
Yamaha, I filled in for Plessinger because he got hurt.
Oh, okay.
And
all right, how was the Yamaha in 2019?
It was better. It was better, a lot better. There's some different people there. I think Jim Perry might have been. I think he was still there, but Jim Roach and all those
Barsha
dudes.
was
Barsha was my team. Yeah, I was teaming up with him. So it was just to fill in for Plessinger to kind of finish off the last few rounds.
Yeah, they were still struggling with the bike then. It wasn't until kind of the new model. I don't think they ever got that version to be great.
Yeah.
Because I remember watching that year AP go through the whoops at Anaheim, and he's
decent,
big, all tall guy in the whoops. He should be able to kill it.
Yeah.
And he was just,
oh
my gosh, all over the place.
I picked the worst race to come back for them, though. I think it was it 2019? Was it Seattle? Because I didn't even make the main.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was before Houston. Because I came back, and there was this – it was probably the biggest, longest set of whoops. It was across the whole entire stadium, and they were just huge. And first practice, I came through, and I just said, screw it. Blah, blah, blah. Hit them so good. The rest of the night after that was horrible.
Yeah.
I went down in the heat race, down in the LCQ.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But.
Well, you had a couple rough opening rounds, but then a ninth at Denver, eighth at Rutherford. Yeah. So you pulled it out, and then that was it. All right. So 2019, you finish out with Factory Yamaha filling in. How did you decide, like, okay, that's it, I'm done? Just no opportunities, or were you kind of like, I'm good, my ankles are jacked?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of already – you could kind of see or feel where the industry was, or at least I did. Like, there wasn't another spot open, as you could tell. I was, like, already kind of trying to find something as far as even a fill-in ride for where Plessinger got hurt, and it wasn't until after that – I didn't think I was actually done. 2019, I was like, oh, well, maybe something pops up. But I also wasn't out there, like, selling myself. Like, hey, guys, like, I'm your next guy or this and that. It was like I'd rather, somebody approach me saying, hey, we want you instead of,
sure,
And I was kind of at that time just going, I mean, how many years? This is 15 years of racing I've already done and all the shit I've been through. My kids were, probably my top priority as far as, like, spending time with them. And they'd come to some races and stuff. But yeah, I didn't realize that was going to be it, honestly.
So when did you decide, like, okay, I
didn't.
Done? You never did?
I haven't.
Okay. Still maybe?
I'm still.
Anybody need a filling?
Yeah, come on. No, I didn't want to give it to him. I didn't want to be like, yeah, I'm going to do this Instagram post to retire. Like, I just don't, I'm not retiring. I'm just not done.
Your
I don't
way?
know. Yeah. It's not going to give it.
All right. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody say that.
I don't know. Some people, they want the closure and they want the this and they want, and maybe that's what I need. I don't know. But at this point, I just don't feel like I'm done riding. I don't think retiring is saying that I'm maybe from professionally racing. That's why they do that. I don't know. But who's to say that I can't come back and be like John Dowd at Southwick and say, I'm going to come back for a couple races or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting.
I haven't really thought of it, really.
Yeah, I don't know why. I guess.
I don't think a glorified Instagram post or something like that defined. I don't know.
Yeah. Huh. I'm just mulling that over because there was no Instagram when I retired.
Yeah.
You just retired.
You just retired.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Now they go, feels weird to be riding this, and it's a whole
because I wasn't expecting it in the first place, and then life changes, life happens, kids start riding, and it's just like, then it just becomes, all right, well, I guess I'm not right, it's just, and then you kind of get forgot about, you know what I mean? You're like, oh, well, yeah, I remember him from 4 years ago or whatever it was, like.
The sport moves fast, huh?
It does, and these kids nowadays, I mean, they're looking for opportunities, and you need the next generation coming in, and I understand that, but I also know I'm still fast on a dirt bike, too.
Yeah, well, you probably come out and pull a podium out of your ass like you always did. Were you able to, in that last run of years, kind of build up some money again?
A little bit, enough to where I could support my family and, buy a house and be able to kind of, but it's definitely no, like, retirement, end and be like, yeah, that's it,
So what are you doing now to earn money?
Well, during my time at Kawasaki, which nobody even really knew this, but I started a cannabis company in California and started a grow and a dispensary. And so now we have one in Lake Elsinore called Ember, and it's right there by the track. So I started that while I was racing, going through city council meetings, meeting the mayor, going through all that stuff, kind of on the down low, because I knew that was kind of frowned upon in our corporate world of Kawasaki. So I just was like, hey, if it happens, it happens. It was a lottery shoot. I put up $40,000 up front to the city.
Yeah, because you had to kind of be chosen for
it was a lottery pick, so everybody submitted
for a license, right?
Yeah, submitted their application and paid their $40,000 fee, and I kind of just crossed my fingers. I said, all right, well, hopefully this works, because our building kind of landed in the zoning for it to be a possibility.
Okay.
And I went to the first city council meeting with my attorney and a few other people, and they said, kind of like, plead your case. And I said, all right. So I walked up, stood in front of everybody at the city council, and they were like, what is this? Like, I didn't look like a business guy that had $10 million of equity and these blah, blah, blah. I didn't have all these numbers. I was like, hey, I'm Josh Grant. I'm a professional motocross rider. I'm, actively riding right now. I'm from the community. I live out here. I'm born in Southern California. And my story was that I don't believe in the opioids because of all of our injuries and my friends that have passed away and have been addicted and OD'd. I've chosen this. I've had these surgeries and did all this stuff through riding, and I chose this medicine as my medicine. So I was accepted. I was the first license accepted in Elsinore.
No way.
Yeah, and went from there. So my dad and I started building the grow while I was still kind of racing. I was off, kind of helping him, and he was helping me get the place built and kind of learning through YouTube videos on how to build a grow house pretty much, but legally.
Yeah.
So they would all come in and kind of check to see our plans and all that, and now it's operating down here in Elsinore, and I have an investor now, and actually one of my good friends too, that kind of helped me get to the next level, and we started a retail business, so that's in there. And then I own the buildings that are in it, so kind of making a little income off rentals and
damn.
Yeah, just
Good
trying
for you,
to
man.
Yeah. So, but then I move out of California, and now you know what I mean? So, I try to sell off the business, and I'd like to do other things out in Florida, or at least we're kind of where we're at, free state of Florida.
Yeah, you actually have some freedom. That's crazy, dude. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Well, good. So is it still paying dividends?
It's still working, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunately that industry in California right now is really hard. It's like, with taxes and all the other stuff that they keep, sticking their hand in. But whatever, it is what it is. That kind of wasn't my end-all play. Like, I'm not, like, trying to – it was more of, like, I want to start it to kind of sell it, like, was my end goal, So, still working on that.
Yeah. It's crazy. They were Atlanta was supposed to be the next big place.
Yeah.
I think, like, Justin Bieber and Snoop Dogg have grows up there.
Yeah.
But it's run into snafus, like they were – because the state – recognizes it as legal, but the country, the U.S. doesn't.
Yeah, the federal.
So the tax money can't be passed, so they're being paid in cash. It's like it's a weird deal still.
It's still weird, and honestly, like, it's still sketchy too. It's still a sketchy business, and that's why I was like, yeah, you know what, like maybe that wasn't the best, but it's still working out for me right now, and we'll kind of keep it going.
Rad. What do you think you want to do in Florida?
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm not sure. I want to do something, especially with the boys. I started the track at the house, like maybe doing like a, private ride, camps or something where I
Gator
can
farm?
Yeah, we do have a gator, dude. It's freaking crazy. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Straight out of Joe Dirt.
Yeah. But I wanted to kind of maybe do something like that along the lines of like helping kids, with racing or whatever, and kind of making a facility. But I haven't got,
Not quite there yet.
Not quite there yet. Close.
Cool.
The track and everything's there. It's just I got to work on the infrastructure as far as making it comfortable for everybody. And
does the ranch have like an Instagram page?
Yeah, we did a Grant Ranch.
Grant Ranch. Yeah. Okay. Cool, man. What about Hilton HLTN? Was that still going?
We kind of dabble with it because it's more fun.
Okay.
We do love the brand, the meaning. Everybody that we've talked to that loves it too. We had some good partners at the beginning. I know Pistol Pete.
Pete's a homie. Yeah.
So Pete's awesome. So. I wish I had the funding to like actually, or the backing to make it, grow. But I guess that kind of industry or business is very difficult, and like
Dude.
brick and mortar. And I mean, I was just learning just on that end of it, and just promoting it first, helping Tony and helping Pete, and like trying to build the brand. But there is so much more stuff that goes on to that. Like it's really difficult, especially with just my wife and I, and now having 3 kids.
Yeah.
It's like
It's
you
time
really
consuming.
can't.
Yeah.
I mean, but we still play around with it. We still have the website going. Hilton's still going. We still sell T-shirts. We have inventory. We have, hats and stuff we still sell. So
it's weird to see like all the brands that were around in our day, Quicksilver and Hurley and Volcom, and they're all gone.
Or they're not. It's not like what it was.
No. Even the shoe companies, remember how big
DC and all the. I mean, it's so sick. I'm like, why are none of those things in our sport right now? Like, why is Etnies and all these people gone from moto? Like,
it's weird.
Why did it change?
It's super weird. There's a shoe company called Podium. The Reeds are involved with it, and we're doing some stuff with them outside of here, but kind of a moto family, like loosely related and cool shit. And I'm just trying to help. I'm like, we need to bring some of this stuff back.
Right.
Like, it was every shoe company you could think of, and people were clamoring to get involved, and now it's like poof.
Yeah, but they don't. Actually, I've actually wrote a few people that I thought, or like on Instagram or whatever. I'm like, hey, would you guys be interested in doing it? And they're like, we don't want nothing to do with moto. Osiris, DC.
Yeah, why?
I don't know. I'm curious.
Super weird, man.
I don't know if it's just the skate world is that. I mean, that's where it originally, is like hardcore into, but I don't know.
Yeah, I know Vans is still, skate and surf.
Yeah.
But like, it feels like they pulled everything back outside of that.
Yeah.
It's weird. I was talking earlier about how it's fun watching like you and Nick Way and Tim Ferry, now watching your kids race. Yeah. And I knew I was getting old when I was doing some of those 125 All-Star things, and the kids of guys I raced with are passing.
You're like, what?
All right, time to call it. But it's fun watching you guys, now bring your kids up. Makes me feel a little bit old, but do you look at it? Do you look at the sport differently or see it differently through their eyes now, like kind of watching them get into it?
I mean, it's definitely different being on this side of the fence now.
Yeah.
Like you're like, okay, you still know the risks, all the stuff that can happen. It's racing dirt bikes, but I don't know. I haven't been pushing them. I mean, I push them a little bit because if this is what they want to do, I'm going to push them in that way. But I never forced it. My kid or Wyatt, he didn't even really start riding until COVID, like legit, And it wasn't because I think when Ashley lost her dad, he lost his connection with baseball because he was playing travel ball and doing baseball and he badass lefty. And, like it wasn't until he lost grandpa that he was like, all right, I need that. He needs that separation
Yeah.
And that's what moto brought is he could go out and ride and not think about all that.
Damn.
Because, you're focused on
kind of closure from that and focus on something else.
So we started riding, and then it turned into, let's race a little bit. Then we did swap motos, and then, then it turned into, but I was still kind of racing in that time. Well, 2019, I wasn't like fully done, but doing stuff. And he's like, yeah, I want to race. I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. Like, you sure you don't want to play baseball?
Yeah, there's lots of stuff.
Like, and I get it. I mean, people hate on baseball too, but it's like those stick and ball sports, they're still gnarly. They still have their
sure
stuff. But yeah, he kind of jumped in, and that's when we were like, all right, well then we're not going to move to Florida because of moto. We wanted it out just because we wanted something new. But that was just kind of a positive. It was like we could build a track at the house. The boys can ride. We're already doing homeschool because we didn't want to go back through the, doing all the school stuff in California. We're like, no, we're not doing that. So they're now doing on-track school, which helps, but it's also hard doing everything. I mean, Ashley does all of the school and it's
a lot of work for mom.
It's a lot of work.
3 kids.
Yeah. So she's got her hands full for sure, but it also gives us the freedom to come out here and do what we're doing right now. Like, come out and do the podcast, go race Mammoth and have fun and see grandma and grandpa. You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of opens up your world a little bit more, and I think it's actually still good.
Yeah. My girls homeschooled the last 2 years of high school, and they love it. Yeah. They're like, why do we not do this sooner? Because if we want to go skiing or surfing one day,
they can go.
We just go. And I was like, all right, I'll do my schoolwork later. And my oldest graduated 6 months early. My other one's going to graduate 8 months early.
Yeah.
because they're not doing all the BS time wasting. It's like just knock it out.
And I think at their age right now, it's more of a babysitter anyway, as far as So,
what is there? Like I always look, and I have girls. It's a little different, but I'm so worried about them crashing and getting hurt.
Yeah.
And I think back to when I was a kid, and my dad was like, "Jump it, pussy."
Yeah.
Like
I kind of have that.
Are you a little hesitant to push them?
I was, yeah. Until now, I'm like, I know that they have the ability to do it, and now it's just a fear that's blocking them in front. It's not their actually physical ability to jump it. It's like it's just fear in the way. So originally, it was like, hey, no, you're not ready to do that.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of hold them back. But now it's like, no, you are ready. You better hit that thing wide open and get on the backside with your front wheel up.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense because my girls don't have the ability, so when they're actually going faster than they should, and I'm like, hey,
chill,
whoa.
And I've had to do that with Easton and Wyatt, but it's crazy.
Is there anything that you will push him or steer him to avoid that maybe you did that wasn't right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the work ethic part of it is like, but then again, it's like I want him to have fun. I know that there's got to be that balance in there, but I never had that balance as far as like doing both. It was just ride because that was my only opportunity. My dad was always, working or whatever and gone. And, I didn't have that structure. And I don't even think that was a structure back then. It was more of like the 90s where you were just riding and partying,
There was no structure.
There was no structure.
Yeah, it was just a different time.
So I think now is like maybe kind of learn with him through that and just kind of go where he goes, really.
Yeah.
Like I don't really want to push it because I just want him to love what he's doing. That's it.
Yeah, just support what their passions are. Yeah, I get it.
And my other one, he rides. He's really talented, but he's like, I'm gonna go fishing today. I don't want to go golf, or I'm gonna go there. He's just wild.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, whatever.
That's
you guys
the
want
middle.
do.
That's
the
the
middle boy. Yeah. Easton, he's nut.
What do you guys do for fun when you're not motoing?
I mean, we're out on the side-by-side dirt road and fishing out in the creeks.
You're full country folk.
Oh yeah, we're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But then we go down to the beach. We love going down to the beach and eating good food and the Deegans that are down in down that area too. So we go hang out with them down there.
Oh, okay, I thought they were.
They're there in Tallahassee is where like their home base is, but they're building a house or whatever in like the beach area. But they come down and visit. So the boys go hang out with Hudson and It's cool. Yeah. But
rad.
Traveling race.
Yeah,
we're right there. I mean, it's like we're in the northern panhandle part, so we can go we're in 6 miles from Alabama. So we go Alabama, we can go to Texas, we can go South Carolina. We can literally branch off anywhere in 8 to 10 hours. Like
Monster Mountain.
Dude, that place is sick.
I want to go so bad. There's
It's
a
so
Blue
fun.
Crew event out there I'm going to try to go to.
Yeah, that's 2 hours from our house.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, Keith and those guys, they do a really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a segment here, our Ethica Fit Check. At least your boys. We're going to get you dialed in with some Ethica swag. We got socks. You said you're going to Mammoth, so we got a beanie for you.
Yeah.
A couple pairs of
It's
socks.
gonna be cold up there.
Yeah.
Thank
and a Whiskey Throttle shirt. So you're large?
Yep.
All right.
Perfect.
Sweet. We appreciate those guys sponsoring and supporting what we do. So that's for you. And our last question we ask of all our guests is, how do you want to be remembered in this sport?
Shoot, that's a hard one, actually. I feel like just one that never gave up, no matter what. So,
Okay.
Just a gritty dude that just doesn't quit.
Well, dude, I first of all, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah.
I really had fun going through this, and like, aside from your ability to just pop out of nowhere and get a podium again or whatever, is like awesome. You've got wins in every freaking major series and category, which is huge. But just doing it your way.
Yeah.
I just love the way you were just like, I don't care what is the norm or whatever. This is how I'm going to do it. It's freaking rad. That's pretty rare.
Never followed any guidelines or whatever anybody else's route. It was just, I don't know. I just did what I felt in the moment, and that's it.
Yeah. I respect the hell out of you, dude. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. We'll be following along with the ranch. Hopefully you guys get that up and running. Let us know if we can help push it and promote it when you're ready.
I appreciate it.
Hey, hope you guys enjoyed it. That was a blast. This guy's a stud, Josh Grant. We appreciate his time. Stick around. We'll be back to wrap up the show. Well, we sure appreciate Josh Grant taking the time to come in. If you're not familiar with his story, I hope you guys enjoyed that. just a stud, man. There's not a lot of people that can say they've won nationals, they've won 250 Supercross, they've won 450 Supercross. The guy's really done it all at the highest level. So, and just I love the way he didn't really let anybody tell him how to do stuff, whether that was even just not retire, just or the way he did that Geico Honda test. Just really did things his own way. I really have a lot of respect for that and a lot of time for Josh. So keep an eye out on his kid. You might see another Grant out doing big things. I really want to thank a couple of new partners that we've brought on. Of course, I've got the best partners in the world with this show. I'm so stoked on all of them. But Element, LMNT, you see the logo. If you guys are looking for an electrolyte replacement drink, there's nothing better. This is elite level stuff. It's very salty, but as they will explain to you in their literature, salt's gotten a real bad rap, and it's what you need when you're sweating a lot. If you guys are racing, especially back east where there's a lot of humidity, you're sweating a lot, there's nothing better for electrolyte replacement. Also, Rockform. These new phone cases have this lock technology. We've got motorcycle mounts, bicycle mounts, car mounts, magnetic mounts. They make little portable speakers that are magnetic and mount to anything. Awesome, awesome products and company. Check those guys out. And, of course, Toyota of Redlands, providing us with our new Toyota Tundra. This thing is rad. I can't wait to show you guys when we get it done. Arc levers. Those are kind of our newest partners that have come on, and I'm just stoked to have them. And, of course, all of our partners are great. Thank you to Yamaha for always supporting what we do. And motorsport.com. You guys get over to motorsport.com/win. Sign up to win a bike. Got a brand new Yamaha YZ450 they're giving away. They do that every single year and a couple times a year, actually. So check them out. Stoked to have them. Stoked to have all these guys on the board back here. These are elite premium level brands, and we're stoked to have them alongside for the ride. So hope you guys enjoyed the show. We got lots more coming. Stick around. See you in the next one.